Let's go. Whoop whoop. Let's get into it. Let's go, guys. A minute late. A minute late. I just had to go to the washroom. I always psych myself up and I go, if I don't go now, what's going to happen? And then I go and I don't really have to go, but you have to at least check, especially when you're getting at 40, you got to check. You got to make sure. Nunca, nunca, nunca. Ay. So many nuncas in the chat right now. Negro, nunca. Nunca negro. You know what I was watching before I even started? I was watching something about some guy from Love is Blind, and he was talking about, he's clearly black. He's clearly black. And he's like, I don't really like the girl I ended up with because I didn't realize she was black. Hey, where are you from? Where you from, bro? You from Dominican Republic? I'm kidding. They like black people over there. They're not black, but they love black people. That's just a known thing. So we got a whole bunch going on here today, guys. There is a lot of tabs open. I think I got like 30 tabs open right now. So we're just going to be working our way through the tabs one by one, two by two. Somebody said that they were from Trinidad and Tobago. I saw that right at the beginning. I was like, wow, that's amazing. Audio's low. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. You know why? Here's why I don't believe you, okay? This is why I don't believe you at all. And also, is your volume at 30%? One of my friends did that to me one day. He's like, your volume's pretty low, man. And I'm like, what's your volume at? And he's like, 30%? You turn it up. I'm not turning mine up. It's too much of a task. I'm just going to go right here to the last show. Oh, that volume's fine. Huh. Hey, you're a liar. Hey, you're a liar. How about that? How about that? Gotcha. 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 Okay. Anyway, you know I can see the episodes after. Saw somebody just entered in as part of the Mint Daddy crew. Who is that? That's TK419 Barrington. Let's go. Is that what we call people who are fans of Baron now? We call them Barringtons? The Baronites? Is that what we're calling them? I'm in 100%. Now, we're going to get into it. A lot of you guys don't have X. You don't know the war that's raging over Candace Owens. Of course, all of the cowards, they decide it's time for me to make a video. Is Candace off? Oh, I gotta address what Candace has said to me. One of them is Graham Allen. He is a very funny guy. He's very scared of what could possibly happen to him if he makes this video. He's very, very scared. The boogeyman is gonna come out and just grab him while he's about to get into his bed. You know that fear we all have, so that hand just grabs your ankle. That's what he's really scared of. We're gonna cover that. Little update there. The rabbi who was with Josh Hammer in that last phone call with Charlie Kirk, he actually has a little bit to say about what Candace had to say about him. Of course, he waits. Balak's tones, of course, he waits. He has something to say now. They all wait until she's not there. We're going to address Trigger Smart's video. Baron actually released something that I found very interesting. And looking at the picture that he released, I kind of saw a similarity between the picture that he showed and the picture of Tyler at the staircase, quote unquote Tyler. Then we're just going to show you all the freaks who are in the redacted files. We're just gonna touch on that. Zorro Ranch, big development on Zorro Ranch. Some wild stuff has taken place. That place is getting the attention that Don Huff guy did not want the place to get. He did not want this type of attention coming his way, and he got it. He got it. That's why he's even in my thumbnail. I mean, just making bone stew. Come on. What? Saguana. That's iguana man. Hey, I've never seen an iguana that color before. Anyway, let's jump over here to the Graham Allen stuff because he has a serious announcement, guys. It's very, very serious. It's very, very tense. And then, of course, we're going to read the super chats and everything like that. But let's jump in right now. I can't wait to talk about those files. I gotta say, I won't say I like talking about them, but I like expanding past the Charlie Kirk investigation. And this is a very big thing. And there's just more and more developments day after day. And we really have to talk about it until somebody has their hands behind their back. When is that happening? When do the hands get behind the back? I don't know. I really don't know. But let's play this clown first.
Why am I doing this? Because there's a lot of people that I have shared the stage with, that I have fought for this country and our faith for a decade, that have remained silent. While Erica is attacked, while Charlie's children are attacked, while this woman tries to single-handedly tear down everything that my friend Charlie stood for, you remain silent in cowardice. And that's okay, I understand. Because as we'll show the audience here in a minute, this is why you're afraid. And maybe some of you have skeletons that you don't want Candace Owens to find out about. Okay, fine. If I got to take the bullets, I will. If this ends my career, then so be it. But if it sparks.
Take the bullets, like Candace Owens is Rambo, like she's John Wick. Like it's Candace Wick. And if he says something, she's gonna come through his door. There's gonna be no one that could stop her whatsoever. Hair just all scraggly, just firearms everywhere, like Neo in the Matrix. Come on, man.
Others to start combating her obvious vindictive, evil agenda and her obvious lies, then it was well worth it.
His career's gonna end. If this ends my career, if my wife doesn't hear from me in 24 hours, somebody tell her that I loved her. Oh, God. Oh, because I have such a nuclear firebomb, truth bomb to drop on you guys about Candace. Just snot bubbles, you know? Just snot all over the mustache, right? I'm trying to inspire people to also go after Candace. This is my valiant, noble effort to inspire people. You understand? Project Mockingbird never died. I am a part of it in the YouTube sphere, and I am trying to get people to do the Mockingbird to what I am doing. That is what's happening here. If I have to take the bullets, what are you talking about? Now, the reason that he said this, there is a good reason, because he has a truth bomb that is going to end Candace. This is a thermal nuclear firebomb, truth bomb, okay? The type of thing that Philadelphia takes and just drops on that other place. You know what place I'm talking about. They just level that other place with nuclear, thermal, firestorm truth bombs like Graham is about to drop right now. Listen to this. I mean, it's over for Candace, guys. Who's going to replace her?
The responses to the allegations, but now I feel that it is time to just tell the truth, right? That's what Candace Owens says all the time. It's time to tell the truth. It's time to let the cat out of the bag. And here's the truth that no one has ever wanted to say for the entirety of the past decade. And that is Candace Owens this is the biggest kept secret inside the conservative movement. Candace Owens has been the biggest thorn in the side, diva, absolute nightmare wrecking ball to the entire conservative movement behind the scenes for the past decade. That's the truth. That's the truth. Anyone who's not on record in front of a camera, they'll tell you the truth. Every single person that has ever worked with Candace Owens that's not still being paid by Candace Owens or has an NDA with Candace Owens, they can't stand her. She's horrible.
That's it. That's it. That was the big thing he was building up to. He's like, I gotta tell you guys don't understand. Nobody wants to say this. Nobody. Except for Tim Pool, because he said this about 5 weeks ago. And there's Ben Shapiro, a bunch of other people said the exact same thing. But I'm dropping the truth bomb that nobody wants to say. People don't like Candace. Okay? Unless you work with her and you like her, people don't like her, okay? Unless you're working with her or you've been a friend to her or she's been a friend to you, friends and family, colleagues that really like her. Other than that, people don't like her. Is it just people from Philadelphia and Philadelphia adjacent that don't like her? The Zio Philadelphians? Is that, maybe that's what it is? I don't know. I just made that word up. Zio Philadelphians. You guys know what I mean. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. People will tell you, unless if they're off record and there's no cameras, they'll tell you, okay? And I know that you're the audience and you only see people who are on camera and on record, but the worst. He's the worst. This guy's worse than Gary. Because at least when you see Gary do it, you're like, well, Gary's dumb. He's curly. It's fine. This guy has no excuse. You're just being curly by yourself. At least Gary has two other stooges with him all the time. He has Erica and Andrew all the time. So it's cool when he does it. I'm like, oh, wow, look at Gary. Gary go. He's a great guy. I think he's a fantastic guy. Guy's jacked. Good beard on him, full beard, right? Ginger. So no soul, but strong gingers. You know how they are, right? This guy, he's just being curly on his own. What are we talking about here? You be curly by yourself? That's nonsense. Who's giving you the boom? Who you poking yourself in the eyes? You're spinning it. You're spinning around in a room, just going whoop 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 whoop, all alone. What? This guy's terrible. Absolutely terrible. Sure, he's a great guy though. I always like to end it like that. I'm sure he's a fantastic guy. Oh, but there's more. Somebody shared this with me. And then I was like, oh, that Project Mockingbird joke was actually on point. Graham Allen, conservative podcaster and Army veteran, thank you for your service, sir, from Caledonia, has been appointed as the director of digital media at the Department of Defense. It's literally Project Mockingbird. He is the Mockingbird. Or at least he's at least a few feathers on the Mockingbird. Maybe he's not the whole bird. He's not really that good at what he does. He's at least a few feathers. He's at least the beak, beak's pretty important. So he's like the tail feathers, whatever. You guys know what I mean. Absolutely wild. Wild to see that. What just tripped me right out. And I was like, this guy's talking about addressing Candace. I'm like, Candace didn't say anything about this guy. I'm like, I watched the episodes like you watched the episodes. Candace didn't say anything about this dude. She's brought him up one time, but it's only because of things he said about her, calling her evil and demonic. I mean, so clearly, I shouldn't even make this assumption. Barron always says you don't want to judge somebody else's Christianity, but here I go. Clearly not a Christian guy. Like clearly doesn't care about, clearly cares more about, and listen, Department of Defense, and clearly cares more about Philadelphia. Just putting it out there. I mean, very clear. But here's the thing. Candace actually did say something about him. Sorry, Graham. I kind of went at you saying she didn't say anything about you. She kind of said something about you, okay? And he's going to tell us what she said. Check this out.
Keep your young kids away from Graham Allen. No joke. My belief is that no man is capable of defending stuff like this that isn't himself perverted. That right there is why so many big name people are afraid to call out Candace Owens.
That's hilarious that she said that. See, this is what I mean. When Candace is off, She's just like, I don't say what I want. What? I just want to, I'm talking. It's business. It's business. I just have to, you are a pervert. Anyway, what's going on? Yeah, let's go. I'm ready to go. I have been ready. You are a moron and everyone can see it. Yep, let's go. Yeah, I'm fine. When she's off, she gets antsy. She's not, I'm telling you, we're not the only ones that get the withdrawals. She gets them too. Called this guy a straight up perverted. Oh my gosh, out of nowhere. But it was because he was defending the text message exchange between Erica and Jillian. As you guys all know, that text message exchange was rather weird. To put it lightly, as lightly as I can, it was off-putting. But he defended it because he has to. He's one of those guys that just has to defend everything that Turning Point does right now. And, you know, I make jokes about Gary. Right, Gary's around Andrew, and you know they're doing the whole podcasting together. He's on the live streams, fine. But Graham actually was speaking at AmFest. Graham actually got a spot to speak at AmFest. He was really on the roster. So it's like, you know, there's no incentive that we can see exchanging hands. But I will say that there's like an influence incentive. You get to be on that stage. You get to do that whole thing. And that's a pretty big thing. To these guys who are really hard on the right, that's a huge thing to be on the Turning Point stage, because all of those Philadelphian donors take a look at you. And if they like the cut of your jib, buddy, you're not getting $7,000. What? Are you kidding me? You might get the BB box. You might get taken to the next level. You understand? I'm just saying. Get taken to the next level. I got to pause for a second. I'm going to use this for the next thumbnail. You might get taken to the next level. You might get those BB bucks. Anyway, let's keep hearing what he has to say.
I make a video saying I'm going to stand up for a widow and the orphans of Charlie Kirk, and I call out the cowards that were supposed friends of Charlie that are saying nothing. And Candace's response is, Graham Allen is a pedophile. No facts, no evidence, no nothing. In fact, I would argue to say that most people know that we're an adoptive family. So I've had my entire life ripped apart through investigations and everything, because any of you who have adopted a child, you know you can't just show up. So I would say that my background is cleaner than Candace Owens ever has been. In fact, I also hold a highest level top secret security clearance you possibly can have. My past and my background has been looked at every single stone. Can you say the same thing, Candace Owens?
I don't know, man. That's not the thing to brag about anymore. Let me tell you something. Back in 2024, 2023, you could brag about having that type of clearance. Now, when we hear you have that type of clearance, we're like, oh, you're one of those guys. Elon Musk has the highest clearance you can possibly get. You're one of those guys, huh? I don't know if he's heard the message. I don't know, because a lot of these super conservative guys, they just put their head in the sand and they're like, what files? What files? Transparency. Of course, there's nothing in there. It's just they released it because they're good people. That's all. Dan Bongino and Cash did such a good job releasing everything. That's kind of just how they think. They just put their head in the sand and just scream that, and that's it. That's how they've been handling the whole files being released. But the thing about it is, we don't really like people who have these clearances anymore, because we're seeing with the files that a lot of the people who have those type of clearances or are adjacent to those type of people suck the life energy out of babies. So don't brag about it anymore. Just saying. I'm not saying he does that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, you know, it's not a thing to brag about anymore. That's like somebody being like, you know, I'm really good friends with Elon Musk. It's like, okay, that's pretty cool. Were you going to go to the party too? Because that's all I think now. I don't care about Tesla. I don't care about those dumb robots all the time. I want to know, were you going to go to the wildest party with him? Was there another guy? Was there another redacted Jeff who had a wild party that you guys went to? Huh? And you guys put a pentagram on the ground, and you guys called on some kind of entity to come down, and then you guys partied with that entity, and that entity's just like, bring me like 6 people, and I'll make sure you guys are all trillionaires. Is that what you did? That's what I think when you tell me you're friends with Elon Musk now. And I can't help it. I can't help it, and we shouldn't have to help it. We shouldn't have to think, oh, that's a bad thing to think. I don't have to be charitable. You know, if you watch the show a lot, you know I use the word charitable a lot. Not anymore. It's out the window. I've been hoodwinked too many times. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not being charitable to people. People said Erica lost her kids. They say she's a lesbian now. Fine. I'm not checking it out. Fine. It all makes sense now. Cool. Fine. Okay? That's just the way it is. I'm sorry, Graham. I apologize, sir. That's just the way it is. Don't brag about that clearance anymore. I don't want to hear about it anymore. We know what's available when you have that clearance. You know what I mean? You get to look at like Project Often, and you're like, oh, witchcraft. Oh, you're studying witchcraft to manipulate the masses. Like, it's not cool anymore, man. That's 2022. 2022, that would have been cool. It's not cool in 2026, okay? We look at you weird. Anyway, let's keep going here, guys. That was my TED Talk. They should let me do a TED Talk just once. It would just be that for 15 minutes. Anyway, this account here, I like this account, Who Off Charlie Kirk. They're talking about Candace brings evidence to the world that Charlie was brutally slain by a powerful group of evil villains who are now engaged in laughable, ineffective cover of epic proportions. Powerful group's response: Candace mocked for repeatedly mispronouncing bureau. Oh, man. And that's a real thing. That's a real thing. They've made compilations of Candace saying the word bureau over and over again. And that's it. That's the response. That's how it goes. And good. Doesn't know when ice melts and can't say the word bureau. Is she in the files where they were talking about procuring people? That's what I'm worried about. How about everybody else? That's what I think about now. I don't care how. Listen, mispronounce all the words in the world. I don't care. Are you in the files 19,000 times? Okay. I'm going to talk about Peter Attia near the end of this episode. The guy has a 1 month. He's with redacted Jeff, has a 1 month old son. Terrible. Kid goes into cardiac arrest. And his wife is like, come home and come to the hospital. And he's like, I have important work to do with redacted Jeff. What? But he can pronounce the word bureau. So he's like, good? Is that how it works now? He's good. But everybody else, even Candace, you can't pronounce the word bureau. Oh, man. It's ridiculous. Candace then says this. Candace still going at Erica as well. And then we're going to jump over to the files. I just had to bring you this update. But this person's really jumping in here. This Zach Costello. Oh, he follows me. This Zach Costello person. Costello? I don't know. But he is, it seems like he's just waking up to the whole Charlie Kirk thing. And he's showing this episode, this video where Erica...
I love you.
I mean, I knew how performative this was when it happened, but I was like, why are his hands yellow? You know? And why are his hands not bigger than hers? You know? That was my thing when I saw this. Right? I was like, what's going on here? Aren't his hands supposed to be massive compared to hers? Isn't that how that works? I don't know. She's like 5'6". He's like 7'9", you know? Charlie, he's just huge. But seems like he just woke up to that, right? And then he said, if I die and my wife does a recording like this, my casket for a social media moment, I hereby grant you permission to criticize her. But the part is that Candace commented on this guy posting this video. She said the worst part is that it wasn't her friend recording it. It was the head of fundraising at Turning Point USA. Erica did not bring a single personal friend or family member to Utah with her. There is no amount of propaganda that will ever make that normal. Mind you, the VP offered to fly people in aboard Air Force Two. Charlie's entire family flew in. Erica chose to be comforted by Stacy Sheridan recording her crying. Candace isn't playing around. I mean, Candace already has a series going out. You think Candace could just be quiet for, just a week and not comment on Erica? No. She's like, no, she's going to feel this. She's like, basically, Candace is like, I think you killed my friend. So now I'm pissed. Like, I didn't know who it was before, but now I'm looking at you. So now she's mad. Now she's really mad. Oh, man. And, I always think back to the whole Charlie was betrayed thing, the dream that she had. And it's like, I don't know. Like the left couldn't betray him. That wouldn't make any sense. And I do take dreams pretty seriously. I mean, for the most part, if you're like on a pink cloud and there's like a hippo or something like that, and then the hippo turns into a wolf and you're riding the wolf down. I don't know about dreams like that. I'm sure they mean something, but I don't know what they mean. But a dream like what she had, where he's saying someone betrayed me, look to the left and this and that. When he's saying all that, I don't know. Who else could really have a deep betrayal? I guess your friends, if you're with them all the time, your inner circle, that could be a betrayal. But a real betrayal would be your wife. Not saying that's what happened. It's just, Anyway, this guy here, he was one of the guys that was talking with Charlie, giving Charlie the talking points while Charlie was trying to figure out, while Charlie was like, basically Charlie had a meeting with this guy, Josh Hammer, and there was other people. This guy won't name who else there was, but there was other people, he says. He says there was other staff members. I would think Andrew Colvette, and then there's probably some other staff member. He mentioned staff members. And he's basically just saying his piece to this whole thing. He's like commenting on what Candace said about him and why Charlie would have this guy in a meeting like this. Like, why would he need these talking points? And this guy just says like a bunch of Fed slop. It's just very interesting that the only reason I'm showing this, it's just interesting that they all activate the day, because this was just released yesterday, the day she goes and she's not going to be around online. She's not going to be making any shows. They figure that if they can talk about her early on in the week, that by the time next Monday rolls around, she'll be on to something else within the news cycle or within the cycle of the Charlie Kirk investigation. It's a very cowardly move. Very, very cowardly move. They know that this will be too old by then to actually talk about. I don't know with Candace. Candace might just be like, we're playing catch up. Next 2 days, I'm hammering everybody who was talking about me. She might just go that route. I mean, she's done it before. But it was just very interesting to hear this guy talk about this whole thing. And, I don't believe a word he's saying, but,
a couple times a month. And those writings are all about politics, all about what is going on in Israel. I also appear regularly on a number of shows in both the Christian media and the conservative space, whether it's on networks like TBN or on Steve Bannon's War Room. I appeared on the Charlie Kirk show a number of times. I also had a show. I hosted a weekly show about Israel on the Real America's Voice network for about 6 months back in 2024. It was a pilot. And
so he's basically just saying, hey, I'm a media guy. That's why Charlie reached out to me. I know my stuff. I'm a media guy. Charlie was the ultimate media guy. What are we talking about here? So he needed you because you've hosted shows and you've been on Charlie's show. It's actually nonsense, Basically, he just says whatever he can to refute what Candace is saying. He also reveals that he was in Buffalo, so he was in America when the call took place. He wasn't in Philadelphia. So, okay. You got that, that's good. But otherwise, he's just basically going on and on about how Candace is wrong and Charlie did need to talk to me. He did need to talk to Josh Hammer. And it doesn't check out. I mean, everything Candace said still stands. Why reach out to these guys at all when he already has the talking points down packed, Unless there's like a little bit of a handler type relationship. And it's like, what can I say? What can't I say? But Charlie was at a point where he didn't care about what he could and could not say. And also, what this guy reveals is that Charlie was getting so many questions about Philadelphia, okay? He was getting half of the questions when he would go and do like an event, half of the questions would be about Philadelphia. So if that's the case, wouldn't he already know what to say? He'd be like, well, I've done 10 shows and they were all about Philadelphia, so I know exactly what to say, and I always know what to say, so I'm just going to say XYZ. Why does he actually have to meet with these people? He's trying to steer people's minds away from the fact that what Candace said seems to be true in regards to there being some kind of damage control that they were trying to do. They were trying to reel him in. He said Candace, he said don't care about this donor, he said Tucker, he said all the trigger words that got them blinking. Like if there's a phone on BB's desk, there's a red phone on BB's desk, like a Batman phone, it was flashing as soon as he said those three things. He said Tucker, he said Candace, he said don't care about donors. You know what I mean? And he already said no to the BB Bucks. So I don't know. I don't believe the guy, but just figured I'd bring that up to you. If you want to, you don't want to watch the video. Let's be honest. You don't want to watch it. I know you don't. I know you don't. That's why I didn't play much of it, because who cares, right? Anyway, Balix Tones enters the chats once again. He also waited for Candace to be on vacation. Balix Tones speaks up for Erica Kirk. He opens the conversation with Patrick Bet David. He says, Patrick goes, do you know about the Candace Owens, Erica Kirk thing? Do you know about that situation? He opens it with saying, Turning Point, you know, they had a great halftime show. I was like, wow, I really like this halftime show. And I don't usually like these shows, but they did a fantastic job. Are you Andrew Colvette? Are you a spokesperson? It didn't make it. It was crazy. Then he goes on to say that the reason that Erica Kirk has been seeming so sparkly and so glittery and so pyrotechy is because, and smiling, is not because she's happy, not because she's like an emotionless person, not a psychopath like Elizabeth Lane said. No, it's because she's a theater kid. That's where we're at. That's where we're at with people defending Erica. They go, well, she's a theater kid. You know how theater kids are. Devoid of emotion? Is that how they are? Is that what they do? They just douse themselves in sparkles and just get on with their day no matter what. My husband's dead, okay? Not to be morbid. My husband's dead. I don't know why more people don't talk about that. That was the craziest thing I've ever heard. Forget about the hats. Forget about the hats and the sales. My husband's dead. Not to be morbid, but he's dead, okay? What? Okay, relax. Calm down. Nobody even brought him up. Nobody even brought up him being dead. You know what I mean? She was just like taking a victory lap. I don't know. Anyway, that's what Balix had to say. Then, of course, he goes on about Fort Huachuca. He starts screaming about when ice melts. Patrick Bet David then stops him and says, hey, you're not answering my question. And then Alex goes, okay, I'll answer your question. Her husband needs to step in, and she's crazy. I've looked into her eyes. She's crazy. Oh, my gosh. He's just Chris Cuomo. That's all he is now. It's very sad. Very, very sad that he's become Chris Cuomo. Do you guys watch Trigger Smart at all? 6,000 people in the chat. I know Black Poppy. I. Anyway, yeah, I'm just a theater kid, you know. You gotta excuse me. Whenever I do something bad, whenever I do something absolutely terrible, I'm just gonna be like, hey, guys, I'm a theater kid. You know how it is. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna say I'm a theater kid, guys. Come on, you know, just come on. You guys know me. I'm just a theater kid. Come on. Anytime you get annoyed, anything that annoys you, just remember, just be like, he's a theater kid. What can he do? You know, I rob a bank, you know, just, he's a theater kid. He was just like, probably preparing for some kind of role, you know. He's probably like a method actor. He probably took on method acting, you know. If I take over a 9-figure company, if I just take it over aggressively and start selling hats and instead giving people bracelets, just remember, I'm a theater kid, guys. Okay? Right? Anyway. Let's jump in. You guys watch Trigger Smart? I gotta call out Trigger Smart here, okay? Because He made this video talking about Erica Kirk and her handwriting versus Charlie's handwriting, okay? And it was in response to a letter that she showed Charlie wrote for Valentine's Day, right? Right? That's what it was. This is the letter that Charlie wrote. Now, he analyzes Charlie's actual handwriting. And hey, listen, I guess it's different, right? Like let's just that's the handwriting that she showed. This is like Charlie's handwriting. Oh, okay. It's a bit different. I mean, it's a little different, But let me tell you something. Maybe trigger smart. Maybe you don't know, bro. Okay? Erica's a theater kid, man. Okay? And if she wants to forge her husband's Valentine's Day note, a note that's meant for love, a love note, if she wants to forge it, she's a widow, man. She's a theater kid widow. What's your problem, bro? Huh? What's wrong with this guy? It's a great video, though. I didn't know this happened. I was laughing about it. I was like, wow. But she's a theater kid. So you gotta give her space, man. You gotta give her space to say and do what she's gonna say and do. And if she wants to write letters and make them look like they're from Charlie, listen, if she wants to act like she has a bunch of plans right up until the year 2063 that were all written by Charlie, you gotta give her the space to do that. She's a theater kid and she's grieving. Come on, man. And she has money to make. What are you talking about? There's still 10 figures on the table, right? 9 figures is sweet. It's nice. But 10 figures, that's where they're heading, okay? This is Turning Point 2.0, bro. Get yourself in check. Anyway, let's keep going here. Baron Coleman, ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for Mr. Baron Coleman. There's 7,000 in the chat. I know Black Poppy. I. Anyway, if that annoys you, you got to remember I'm a theater kid, right? Baron Coleman in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if he's in the chat, but he's probably busy. Probably busy writing his opening statements. It takes him 14 hours to write those opening statements. You know that? He told me 8 hours one time. I was like, what? I was like, I'm preparing my podcast at 9:50 before it hits 10 a.m. This guy's 8 hours. The dedication in this guy is absolutely incredible. Did a great show last night. And he touched on something. Now, I had a picture of this guy, but I didn't know what to do with it. It wasn't coming up in anything I was talking about. But then Baron did this whole breakdown as he talks about Lance. And then I had a picture of Lance and Tyler. I just found it very interesting. But check out what he has to say about this. Very, very interesting stuff. Let's go.
He looks like. There's nobody in America who would say that the Tyler Robinson that they've seen could be described as having shoulder-length hair, for example, or aviator sunglasses, right? Nobody would describe anybody as wearing shoulder-length hair with aviator sunglasses. So let's hear who they are looking for. If I can get this, there we go. If I can get it nailed down just right over the timestamp here. So this is, again, back to the Utah police scanner. We're switching feeds here, so it's going to look a little different on your end, but it's a scanner. So here we go. This was at 1:33 p.m. and 29 seconds, about an hour and 10 minutes after the Big Bang. Who is it you're looking for? The dispatcher, please, by all means, you have the floor.
Copy male, dressed in all black, shoulder-length hair, aviator glasses, black bag, and a long gun.
So we have a male dressed in all black. Now we've added a descriptor because we had, or two descriptors. We had the dressed in all black. We had actually, I don't know that we've had anybody mention a long gun to this point. So now we've added a long gun. We've added a black bag. We've added aviator glasses, wherever those came from. And we've introduced hair. We've introduced hair. Unless you think
We have introduced hair. Did he mean that to be funny? Because that's hilarious. Hair has entered the equation, ladies and gentlemen. You know? But very odd that all of a sudden they're describing him with shoulder-length hair, right? Black aviators, long gun, you know, stuff like that. Okay. That I've never heard before. But also, what he brings up is, I've never actually considered what Lance looked like, because we have always had the idea that he looked like the pictures that were shown. We always had the idea that the pictures we were seeing of Lance was how Lance looked at the time of this whole thing happening. September 10th. We always think of him with that little weird hoodie with the little ears on it, little dog ears or whatever. We think of him like that. We see pictures of him where he has short hair, where he looks similar to the way Tyler looks. We always have that kind of image of him in our heads. But that could easily not be true. We don't know when any of those pictures were taken that we've seen of Lance. You know?
I think that's the only transmission dealing with hair, I will play yet another one about a minute later so that you guys can see, no, in fact, hair has become intrinsic to this. Let me get it queued up. It's pushing in 10-second increments here, so let me let it roll for just a second before I switch over there. But keep in mind, we're listening for hair. Here we go. You ready?
Male suspect are in black long pants, black bag, longer hair, mid-length, dark aviator style, sunglasses with a long gun.
All right. We have a male suspect, black long pants, black bag, longer hair, mid-length, dark aviator style sunglasses with a long gun. As you were listening to the Fed slop narrative being spoon-fed to you, being crammed down your throat day after day, asking like this was an open and shut case and we had nothing to talk about and we're all just conspiracy theorists, do you remember anybody talking to you about a suspect with long hair, shoulder-length hair, mid-length hair? Does this guy look familiar to you?
Now, these are the pictures that are circulating. This is Lance. This is Lance in Texas. So apparently, you know, the FBI was very close with him. They were keeping him safe. You know, the way that Brian Harpole should have kept Charlie safe, like that type of safe. You know, like alive, safe, and they were protecting him, and obviously, I guess, purging him for information. You would think, or they were like, "Good job, Agent Twigs." Agent Twigs, fantastic job. Listen, we're going to get you over to Texas. We already have an identity for you and everything like that. You're going to be just fine. Okay, Agent Twigs? You've done a great service. You have no idea. Tell Agent Twigs. Anyway, but this is him in Texas. This is what he looks like. How long would it take for him to grow hair like that? From September 10th? Let's just say from September 10th, I guess. You know, because we all have this image of him with this short hair. So from September 10th to now, these pictures came out 4 days ago, I believe. So we're at the 4 days ago, we're at the 13th, Friday. You know, how long would it take for him to grow his hair like that? I guess it could be fast. Some people grow their hair really fast, but it seems like this is like his style, you know? But then what I noticed, you know, I'll play Bear for another minute, but then I noticed something in the picture that I had because it was off of X and somebody was making a comparison.
Do you know who this is? This picture was taken less than a week ago. This is alleged to be Lance Twigs, photographed by the Daily Mail in Texas. That, to me, looks a lot like the description. Now, that's the Lance Twigs we've all seen. We never got to see his hair, did we? Because they always showed us Lance Twigs either in a hat or with this stupid costume on. They never one time showed us Lance Twigs looking like this. This is the first I got to see. Lance Twiggs. So when you look in the timeline becomes pretty important.
So I just thought that picture was like just wild, the way that he looks. And if I could just have Baron go back, the way he said that stupid costume is hilarious. In this stupid costume. Here, I'm just gonna. I just want to see that picture that he had. Let me put it on.
Does this sound familiar to you? Do you know who this is?
I'm just gonna flip over to my picture really quick, but I want to see that other picture. There it is. Boom. So people were taking this picture and they were comparing it to Tyler, right? They were, and supposedly Tyler. We honestly don't even know, right? Love to know who this person is. No, this person's never come forward, right? Who is this guy? How come this guy has never come forward and said, "Oh, I walked by that guy in the stairwell"? How come that's never happened? Weird. But they're comparing it, and if you look, now it's not in the same place, right? It was just something I noticed. It's not in the same place, but it is a similar hat where they have the triangle on the hat. Now, obviously, the triangle's Illuminati. Everybody knows about the Illuminati, right? But it was just very interesting how people are comparing this. So now, is that Lance? Like, I don't think this is Lance, right? I never really did, but it kind of did look like him because we all thought that he had super short hair, the way that we saw Tyler having super short hair. But now that you hear that description from Dispatch that Baron was showing, and the thing about it is, I am more inclined to believe that Dispatch audio that he played because it was fresh. It was fresh, and Cash didn't have time. Cash and Dan, Cash, Dan, and the gang didn't have time to be like, don't talk about this, don't do this, don't do that. They didn't have time to really reel those people in. When something happens, like let's say there are a bunch of people that are involved, law enforcement, federal, let's say they are all involved. This dispatch person is probably not on the payroll. They're not in on the whole thing. So they're just like, okay, this is the description. They're going about it in a very honest way because it just happened. It's kind of like, I won't talk about that day. You know how Charlie passed on the 10th? The day after? That day? The 11th, right? That day. Well, when that happened, remember that day when that happened? The reports were crazy. The reports were about explosions and this and that. And then once they reeled everybody in, all those reports went away. And you don't really find those reports anymore. They've resurfaced since, but it's kind of the same thing here. All of a sudden, this is resurfacing. Who was that person they were looking for? And why were they looking for them? How could that possibly be a thing? I don't know. And they're looking for this guy. Did they see that guy? Did they see him run off somewhere? I would love to know that. Did they see him run off? Did they see him take a shot? Did they see him laid down somewhere? They say we have Tyler running and jumping off the roof. That's what we have there. And he had something in his hand, and everybody's just like, that was a 3-foot-long firearm. And it's like, okay, didn't look like it, but cool. Wrapped in a towel. What? Doesn't even make sense. It would make more sense to leave it there, but it's his grandfather's, right? So yes, it's just the whole thing's so stupid, the whole story. But I don't know. Makes you wonder about Lance there. Now, did Lance take the shot? I can't say that Lance took the shot, but it definitely sounds more like Lance. Like, I don't know. That's just me. It definitely sounds, or sorry, I shouldn't say it sounds. It definitely looks very odd when you have that recording that he has, and then you have this photo of Lance. I mean, come on. What are we talking about here? Has he always looked like this? And in comparison to that photo where he's in that dumb costume, this guy looks like he has like an extra 20 pounds on him. Could be stress eating. I love to stress eat, I do it all the time, right? Especially since I got sober. So I get that 100% emotionally eating. But I don't know. This guy, like somebody said in the comments, this guy looks manly. He looks manly. It's almost like, just coming up with like a movie idea. It's almost like his job is done and he doesn't have to play around like he's a twink anymore. kind of what it seems like. He's like, I don't have to do that anymore. I'm not wearing cat ears anymore. I just had to get Tyler, you know? Lance is just Tyler's Erica Kirk. You ever think of that? It's Lance Kirk. It's Lance Franzvi, right? I don't know. But I just wanted to cover that. I think Baron did a great job breaking that down. Don't know where he got all that information. Pretty wild that he was able to get that information so put together so well. But yeah, Lance has gained weight. Yeah, people are seeing it. He definitely gained weight. He looks like a just, you know, I won't say he looks like a man, right? There's men of all weights, right? But he looks a little more manly, you know? Has some weight to him. Looks like he can push a person around. Before, he looked very, very soft. You know what I mean? Very, very effeminate, right? But neither here nor there. Who knows what's really happened with this Lance character? I would love to know. But now we are going to jump over to the files, ladies and gentlemen. We have to discuss these psychopaths and all of the psychopathic things that they are doing. Now, I just want to start it off with this. Okay, I have to start it off with this guy. This guy's the CEO of Palantir. Now, he wasn't in the files or anything like that. You know what? I don't know that for sure. But I only wanted to play this because he's just so outrageous in the things that he says. CEO of Palantir, right next to Peter Thiel, right? He's part of that clique. He's part of the Antichrist clique, you know? They have a good time. I'm sure they have great parties, right? Anyway.
You need a higher purpose, and I also think you often need a lower purpose. Like the higher purpose for me...
What's a lower purpose?
Well, I love the idea of getting a drone and having light fentanyl-laced urine spraying on analysts who tried to screw us.
Why does it have to be urine? That's the real question, okay? That's the real question. Why does it have... You already got the fent on it, right? That's enough. That does enough to a person once it's on them, okay? Once it's on or around them, that does enough. It has to be urine as well. Why? This is how these elites think. This is how they think. They're nuts. American Psycho was a documentary. It wasn't a cool movie. It was a documentary. It was a warning. So you understood who these people were. It goes right, it butts up really nicely. A lot of people don't think of this. It butts up very nicely to Eyes Wide Shut. You ever think of that? American Psycho? Like, where do you think that guy went to party, right? He was shouting Fidelio in front of some wildly huge mansion. He's like, Fidelio, I got my business card. You want to see it? Fidelio, let me in. That's where he was partying for sure. I mean, Christian Bale, right? I've watched half of that movie. I have to admit, you guys know what this is, right? I watched half of that movie, like with this, and I had to stop watching it. I had to stop watching that movie immediately. But this is the CEO of Palantir, and that's what he would like to do if he could. I guess we all have thoughts like this, right? But we don't say them in front of tens of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people. We don't do that. Not really. But, anyway, moving on to another elite. I think these guys, like, imagine this nightmare blunt rotation. This guy talking about fent and urine. This guy here just obsessed with money and probably all sorts of sick things.
You ready? Thumbs up back there? Thumbs up from everybody. Okay. Well, I'm Senator Lindsey Graham from South Carolina. I'm back. I come here every 2 weeks whether I need to or not. So why did I come this time? To put a fine point of where we're at as a world regarding the Iranian regime.
This guy is in Philadelphia right now. Okay.
Okay. Well, I'm Senator Lindsey Graham from South Carolina. I'm back. I come here every 2 weeks whether I need to or not.
What'd you say about taxpayer money? What'd you say? Every 2 weeks? This guy goes to Philadelphia every 2 weeks. I mean, just how is he not in the files? I thought for sure he'd be in the files. I thought 100% if anybody was going to be in the files 10,000 times, I thought it was going to be Lindsey Graham. And he's just not in there. Because you know why? He's not really a sicko. He just likes money. That's it. You know, he probably met Jeff one time, redacted Jeff just one time. And he's just like, hey, I heard you have a whole bunch of money. Okay. And I was just wondering what we have to do to part you with some of that money and bring it to me. Now, I know this is a big ask. Okay. And I like to ask everybody this question. Will you give me $1 million? I ask everybody this question. Will you give me $1 million? Because I really need the money. You understand? You understand? I love the money. I mean, it's just people think I like guys. I just like money. I don't really care where it comes from, okay? Does like guys, you know? Just a weird guy. Taxpayer money, you know? And you know this guy doesn't fly economy. I had to bring it up, okay? We're getting into the files now, but I had to bring that up. When I saw that, I was like, what's going on? What is he talking about? You say he goes to Philadelphia every 2 weeks? That's a long time. You don't stay there for 10 hours. That's a long time. Doesn't fly economy. Flies private. You think he's using his own money? You think Lindsey Graham, money-grubbing Lindsey Graham, is spending his own money to go to Philadelphia every 2 weeks? Jeez. He's like, I just like being, listen, I don't want to say anything about anybody, but I always heard that these people understand money really well, and I just love money. So I was just hoping I could sit down with y'all because over where we are, y'all are the best accountants. So I figured if I came here, y'all would be even better accountants. I'm just trying to get some money. Okay. We sent you $18 billion this year. I'm just wondering, okay? Let's not mention the president at all in this conversation. I'm just wondering if I could have $1 billion. I just need to taste 10 figures just one time. You understand? I'll help you go to war. I'll always help you go to war. I love the people at Raytheon. I love Lockheed Martin. You have no idea how much money they've given me. I'll help you go to war with whoever. You want to go to war with Rwanda? We go to war with Rwanda. I'll figure it out for you. I talk to the president all the time. I'll figure out a war in Rwanda for you if you need one. You see what I did with Ukraine? You saw what I did with Ukraine, right? And now they're missing money. That's how that goes, right? You guys want any money? Hey, y'all gonna go and just bathe in some money right now? Anybody want to go and just splash around in money like we're Scrooge McDuck? Nobody? Okay, well, I'll be back in 2 weeks, y'all. What? Lindsey Graham, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, let's get to this guy. Jump scare for you. Anyway, a great thing has happened with the Zorro Ranch, apparently. So I told you guys about this guy. His name's Don Huffines. He's supported by Turning Point as Texas's comptroller. They are pushing for him to be in that position in Texas. And apparently there is some, there's some incentives to Turning Point wanting that type of thing from this guy, wanting him to be in that position. Now, of course, I told you that this guy's not going to help the authorities. He is for sure just making bones stew. If there's any bones to be had, he has them, and he is just adding salt and pepper and maybe just a little bit of cumin because his wife likes cumin, right? And they're probably adding some onions, and there's probably some green onions, right? Because they don't like the red onions because they're a little too strong, so they like the green ones because those cook up a lot better, right? That's the kind of thing they're doing. And they add just a little bit of, I'm not even gonna go there. I was gonna go real bad here. Anyway, there was a guy who was like, hey, I will pay for the excavation. It's said to be that there is young people who are possibly inside of the ground of the property that you've bought. Now, let's just hear a little bit about this guy and his purchase. And then we're going to hear his response because he's been forced to respond. Because lawmakers have actually been looking into getting his property excavated. And he may not have a choice in the matter at this point. So let's listen to this, and then we're going to listen to Don lie about something, and then we're going to confirm that he lied via Sarah Fields. Let's go.
So remember the guy running for Texas controller who bought Jeff's ranch? Yeah, it got worse. Shout out to Bethany Blankley at the Center Square for digging deeper. Now, this wasn't just Don Huffines buying a property. His wife, Mary Catherine, is listed as trustee, and his son, Colin, is the LLC manager. And that LLC created 1 month before the purchase. A brand new shell company in a state that allows anonymous ownership, built specifically to buy the property victims called the House on the Hill. And then they renamed it, changed Zorro Ranch to Rancho de San Rafael, changed the address from 49 Zorro Ranch Road to 49 Rancho San Rafael Road. New LLC, new name, new address. Almost like they didn't want anyone to know. And it worked, until reporters at the Santa Fe New Mexican found it through public records. His campaign said the auction proceeds benefited his victims, but Epstein's own estate attorney said the money went to estate administration, including payment of creditors. One of those sounds noble. The other sounds like paying Epstein's bills. Somebody's lying. The property was valued at $21 million. The Huffines family got it knocked down to $13 million. A $7 million tax reduction using the property's notoriety as their argument. The man wants to be Texas's chief financial officer, and his big move is haggling down the tax bill on a sex trafficking ranch. And here's the part that should make everyone uncomfortable. The ranch has never been searched as part of a criminal investigation. Not under Jeff and not under Huffines. Now remember, the FBI raided all of Jeff's other properties, but never touched Zorro Ranch. Right now, the New Mexico's land commissioner is calling for ground penetration radar and cadaver dogs on adjacent land. State lawmakers are pushing for a truth commission, and Huffines won't answer questions about why he bought it, won't return reporters' calls. Now, I'm not accusing anyone of anything. I'm just asking questions. If you're a Christian conservative businessman who made a totally innocent real estate purchase, why are you hiding it behind a shell company, renaming the property, changing the address, and going silent while millions of files are dropping? What exactly is the upside of secrecy here? Even Greg Abbott's campaign consultant called it a sleazeball secret land deal and asked what kind of person thinks this is a good investment. Huffines is campaigning on accountability and conservative Christian values. He owns the house on the hill. He won't talk about it. Early voting starts next week for the primaries. Receipts, not speculation.
Solid. What's that guy's name? What's up, CV? I hope that's actually him. Yeah, that guy's pretty solid. But yeah, that is the nitty gritty of what's going on with this guy. And apparently it has actually happened. Lawmakers have unanimously approved. I don't want to get attacked like Candace for mispronouncing a word there. Approved 2.5 million truth commission with subpoena power to probe the rush hour traffic and SA at redacted Jeff. Zoro Ranch starts tomorrow, and testimony can lead to prosecution. Emails from 2019. I don't even want to show that email. It's crazy. Emails from 2019 allege that redacted Jeff and Max buried 2 people nearby. Land Commission requested radar and cadaver dogs. It's been ignored for 7 years. Finally, some movement. Better late than never. So that's what's going to end up happening. This truth commission can subpoena. If they have subpoena power, possibly they can subpoena him and force him. Now, here's the thing. Don actually had to respond to this whole thing, because once we get to that point, and he probably got wind that this commission was being, because he wrote this at 9:30 p.m. yesterday. So he probably got wind that this commission has started up, because they're probably like, hey, listen, we're doing this commission and it's not for fun, and it's going to be focused on you. And if you try to stand in the way, we have subpoena power now, and we have 2.5 million in this truth committee. The reason why that is important is because they actually estimated that excavating the entire property, just digging through everything, it would cost around $1 million. So now they have more than that. So they have more than enough to possibly have enough to dig everything up and then replace everything. And that would be the best thing in terms of being an owner of that land. If they look at you and they say, we're going to dig it up, we're also going to replace it all, it's not going to be at your expense whatsoever. But you've decided to buy a absolutely horrible place. And you knew it was a horrible place too. That's why you changed the name and the address and all that stuff. So this is kind of on you, just a little bit on you. And if you have any connection to anything that happened, we're probably going to throw you in jail. Maybe. This is not Norway where they're prosecuting people with connections, but I don't even know if he was in the files. Okay? I don't even know if he was in the files. It looks like he was. Okay. Just based on his face. Looks like it. I don't know. Can't say he was. Looks like it though. So let's keep going here. So this is what he had to say. He said in 2023, after Redacted Jeff passed away, San Rafael Ranch had been listed on the open market. It's so funny he's calling it that because he changed the address, so he won't even call it the Zorro Ranch. Isn't that fun? He said it had been listed on the open market for years and was scheduled for public auction. At the time of the sale, it was marketed that the proceeds would go to the victims. It has since been confirmed by the estate's attorney that the proceeds from the sale benefited the victims. Now, that is the lie, and potentially maybe he just doesn't know. That's what we're going to confirm right after we read this. What the enemy once meant for evil, God can redeem for good. You know, that's exactly why Turning Point likes this guy. It seems like everybody associated with Turning Point and those type of organizations, they always go towards this. They always do it. They always link up their own agenda, their own fears, their own stuff to God and the Bible. Man, that's why so many people don't like organized religion. That's why so many people are so turned off by it. That's why we renamed the property San Rafael after the saints associated with physical and spiritual healing, and began plans to immediately remake it as a Christian retreat, reclaiming it for Jesus. Even the new entrance will reflect that mission and will read, "Blessed are the ones who come in the name of the Lord." Oh goodness. Oh goodness. You know Baal? You know Baal means Lord? You know that's what it translates into? It means Lord. You know that? Just saying. Not accusing him of anything. I wouldn't accuse this face of anything. I'm just saying that's what Baal means, in case you were unaware. It just sounds creepy to me. The whole thing sounds creepy. You're gonna make it into a Christian retreat. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I like Christian retreats. I want to go on one. I'm a Christian. I just, as time goes on and we hear about all this stuff, it's like it's hard to trust. Listen, it's hard to trust anyone. It's really hard to trust the guy who buys Zorro Ranch, doesn't answer any questions about it, changes the name, doesn't say anything about it until he's forced to, when all of a sudden this committee is formed that has subpoena power, and now he's talking about it. Very, very weird. By 2024, my family's ownership was public and had been posted on social media. We have always maintained an open line of communication with local authorities. No law enforcement agency has ever approached me to request access, and I have always said unequivocally that any such request would be met with immediate access with full cooperation. This is what desperate political opponents do: last-minute lies and dirty tricks. Now, maybe he's just saying what he's doing at the end there. He's just like being real honest. This is what we do. Last minute lies. Because that's what this is. It's a last minute lie. The thing was made, the committee was made, and then he says all this, right? So he's at it. It's such a tactic, accuse people of what you're guilty of. That's the thing. That's the tactic. That's a Saul Alinsky tactic. You ever read the book Rules for Radicals? Check that book out. I'm telling you. You'll see so many people operating under what that book was about. Saul Alinsky, mentor to Hillary Clinton, in his first book, shouts out Lucifer. I'm not making that up. You can look it up. Anyway, let's keep going here. I'm not making it up. That's a real thing. So that's what Don says. He says it was going to the victims. But here's the thing about this part right here. When he says this, be met with full cooperation. When he says this part here, I'm like, okay, but also, if you're a Christian, right? I'm a Christian. If I bought this property, which never would, because, I could go into a whole thing about the occult. Aleister Crowley bought this place. It was called like the Balskin Ranch or something like that. And it had a lot of dark energy around it. And that was the reason that he bought it, to do dark rituals. And then he said it was too dark and too evil. And then I think it was Jimmy Page ended up buying it for the same purpose because he was an occultist. It seems like these occult types know to buy places where dark things have happened because they can execute rituals on a, higher strength, extra strength satanic ritual on a place that has some darkness to it already. Now, I'm not saying that's what he's doing, but that's what comes to mind. And that's just me. That's just the way I think. But here's the thing. Why didn't you just say, hey guys, hey, why don't you search this place? This place has never been searched. I just bought it. I own it. I could just not move in. I could just leave it empty. You guys can just do your thing. Because why wouldn't I do that? I'm a Christian man and I want to see good things happen with this place. Not only do I want to have a priest come in or a pastor come in and bless it, not only do I want to reclaim it for Jesus, I want all the darkness to be ridden from this place, to be completely gone from this place. So you guys can go ahead and search, do whatever you got to do. Why hasn't that happened? He's waiting until law enforcement comes. Not saying he has any relationship with them, right? But it's just weird that you're going to wait instead of just being very open about it. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's just me. Now, turns out when it came to the whole victims things, he lied. This lady, some people don't like Sarah Fields. Some people do. I'm kind of indifferent myself. I just found what she was saying to be very important to what Dawn was saying.
So in 2021 and in 2022, I was highly involved in the gubernatorial race in Texas. I helped run the campaign for Chad Prather. There were 3 gubernatorial candidates. It was Chad Prather, Alan West, and Don Huffines. They were all running against Abbott, and the whole slogan for all 3 candidates was anyone but Abbott. I'm sure a lot of Texans will remember. We were traveling all over Texas. Towards the end, I actually became the campaign manager for Chad Prather for the gubernatorial primary. Abbott won, as you all know. But during that time, we were all very close. We were all traveling together. We were going all over Texas, holding debates, the 3 candidates, Don Huffines, Alan West, and Chad Prather. So in that process, we all had each other's personal cell phone numbers and we were all communicating. It was already very well known that Don Huffines was very wealthy, and of all the candidates who had the biggest war chest, it was Don Huffines. That was understood by all. And he got a lot of his money through land investments. Now, as all of you know, now it has come out that Don Huffines owns Zorro Ranch. Huge controversy. I get it. Huge controversy. And a lot of people have questions. A lot of people have tried to reach out to Don Huffines, has not really gotten any kind of response. So I want to clarify a few things here, because a lot of people are saying that the money went to victims, and that is something that he has also stated. So I want to clarify something about that. The money did not directly go to Epstein's victims. They bought the ranch in 2023. The victims' payouts went out in 2021. Money went to a fund, and money from other sales went to the same fund. The proceeds from the sale of Zorro Ranch in New Mexico were actually directed to his estate to fund the administration of the estate, which includes paying creditors, taxes, and lawsuits. And an attorney from the Epstein estate actually confirmed that this was true, that the sale was specifically to satisfy claims against the estate. And proceeds from his various properties has been used to fund the Epstein Victim Compensation Program. The ranch was sold in 2023 for an undisclosed amount to a company that was tied to Huffines. The property was originally listed for $27.5 million in 2021 before the price was reduced. So the sale for that 8,000 acre property was meant to be a large effort to liquidate Epstein's assets, which totaled over $500 million. And part of that money was supposed to settle with victims and pay off taxes and legal debt. The Virgin Islands settled with JP Morgan in 2022.
Wow. So that's a long video. I'm going to repost that for anybody that wants to go see it. and I will just label it wow. That's what I will put it as right now. Boom, wow. If you want to see the whole thing, because it's like a 9-minute video. I don't want to play the whole thing, but you get the gist of it. You know, what he was saying is actually not true. Now, he could have just misunderstood, right? That is possible, but I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know about that face, bro. I don't know about that face. Funny enough, you know what I also realized as she was talking? She's talking about him having the biggest war chest and him being very wealthy. Kind of makes sense why Turning Point is actually, and I'm not saying anything like this is happening. We don't know who the donors are when it comes to Turning Point. But as a Christian conservative who is doing very weird things like Turning Point does, it could be that they are getting, or he is getting this endorsement because he also has donated to Turning Point. That could be a thing. I don't know. You know, we don't know who the donors are. And honestly, how could you not trust a face like this? I mean, come on. He looks like a nice guy. Looks like a nice guy. Jump scare. Anyway, let's keep going here. Oh, man. Very odd. Very odd. Now, fact that the case is now closed pretty much because they say they are not going to release any more files, which is very interesting because, you know, and this is what I'm talking about, right? They have concluded, I showed you guys this yesterday, half of the 6 million documents, you know, the DOJ has announced that it's concluded its disclosure, won't release any more files, right? Of course, like I said, this is after they said it was all the files, and, you know, it was before when they said that there were no files to be really released and it didn't matter. And, you know, Kash Patel would have, you know, flown in with his country music singing girlfriend, and he would have gave everybody the whole case yesterday if he could. And that was after Pam Bondi said it was on her desk, and then it wasn't on her desk. And, you know, they're just the worst, right? Thank God Dan Bongino went back to podcasting. As much as I make fun of it, him calling himself the Podfather, thank God, because you didn't need to be in that position. Now, if we can only get Kash Patel and Pam Bondi to start a podcast together and leave these positions and let Matt Gaetz become the Attorney General and Candace Owens become the Director of the FBI. If we could just have that happen, I think we'd be on the right track, you know? I don't even know if Candace would release all the files. I think Candace would just start arresting everybody. I think that's what she would do. If she was director, she would just start showing up to places and be like, you're under arrest. And that would be it. Just hundreds of people just under arrest. And she'd be like, do we have secret prisons? And the agency would be like, we do have secret prisons. We have secret prisons all over the world. She'd be like, huh, that's interesting. Okay. I need to know where those secret prisons are. I have prisoners. I have many prisoners here. Can I know where the secret prisons are so I can put them inside those secret prisons? Why, certainly. Also, sir, you're under arrest. What? You can tell me where the nicest secret prison is, and that's where I'll put you. Deal? Then she mispronounces bureau, you know? And then it's like, oh my God, why is she in that position? She mispronounced bureau. That's what I think would happen. Hopefully that happens soon. You know, I like that timeline that just played out in my head. Hopefully that timeline takes place. But the reason that they have decided to conclude this, it's very odd because it's a worldwide thing and they can actually help other countries in releasing all the files. Other countries have been taking steps in purging the people who were in the files from their governments, from their companies. They have been actually doing this, and they're in the process of like prosecuting people. So it's actually helped people worldwide. So you think you would just release all of them, even if you still had to do your little redactions here and there, but they've concluded that. Now, there could be a reason that Pam Bondi's doing this. Now, this girl who keeps doing this, is this Speak with Dee Dee? Is that actually what her name is? I should actually verify if this is her. But this is the girl that Candace Owens was playing Red Rover with, if you guys recall. And she has some interesting info about Pam Bondi.
Oh, hi, Pam Bondi. What are you doing with Keith Frankel? I have a couple questions for you, Pam. How much were the acting lessons? Do the Epstein victims that you cried with know that you're friends with Keith Frankel? Why was Keith Frankel and Jeffrey Epstein talking about body boxes on February 10th, 2010? You've read the files, so I'm sure you can tell us. If Jeffrey Epstein was such a monster, Pam, how come Keith went to his house so many times? One thing that was mentioned in the Epstein files is children being trafficked out of Ukraine. Keith Frankel and his family run a children's home that takes children out of Ukraine. You need to cut the shit, Pam. You need to cut the shit.
That girl's on a roll. Again, I don't know if this is Speak with Dee. I don't know if that's her actual page. I should just verify. Let me see if this is actually her. That doesn't look like her. Does that look like her? No, that looks like just somebody else. No, I don't think this is her. Let me see if we can see something at the end. There it is. There it is. What does it say?
Oh, hi.
No. Hold on. Go back there. Not an official news source. There you go. That is what she's called. I'll let you guys see it right there. She is called not an official news source. I believe that could be somebody else just taking her clip as well. I got to find out who that girl is because she's doing some really, really good work in this whole thing. She's been really looking at the files pretty hard. But I say all that to say, possibly the reason why she is stalling and concluding the disclosure is because she is covering for people. I mean, that is the notion when it comes to her, Cash, all of them, that they're covering for people, right? It's definitely not the Prez that they're covering for because he's like in those files, like I think it's 13,000. I think it's something like 38,000 times. I know I just jumped numbers, but I'm like picturing something I just saw. I think it's like 38,000 times. It's pretty crazy. So they're not covering for him, but there's people more powerful than him, despite what we have all been told. So very interesting. Very, very interesting. I don't know what she's doing there. I think she's covering for people. Now, we just, Glenn Greenwald, who's also been caught doing some very weird things himself, but, neither here nor there. He still does good work. But he says, this is a blatantly deceitful tactic from Pam Bondi. She's conflating a relationship with redacted Jeff with being in the files. There are countless docs/emails that are news articles or discussion about news. Many on this new list just come from that BS try. So this is what a lot of people are saying, which I didn't realize. It is a very, it's a tactic. It's very much to confuse people. I did not realize this, right? It kind of gives the people, as they say, the term is like giving the people red meat. It's like feeding them what they want. They're ravenous for something, so you must give them the red meat. Now, that's what she's doing in this, but it's just everybody who was mentioned. So if redacted Jeff talked about somebody, they would just put them on this list. That's why Janis Joplin's on the list, because redacted Jeff is like, when I suck the life force from people, I like to play some Janis Joplin, and they're like, oh, well, put Janis Joplin on the list. You know what I mean? Like that's really what's going on here. It's pretty ridiculous. So they're making sure, like Tucker Carlson's on the list. Why? Everybody's on the list. Ashley Biden's on the list. You know what I mean? I don't know. There's a joke there, but I'm not going to make it. Because Joe Biden's right under. I'm not going to make that joke. But Joe Biden is odd. According to Hunter, Joe Biden is deserves to be on the list, apparently. Reid Hoffman's there, Michael Horowitz, Mike Huckabee. Like, it's just Mick Jagger's on the list. And let me tell you something. I don't like people from Hollywood. I don't like those Hollywood people. They're all a part of a weird occult thing. They're all practicing channeling and rituals and all sorts of weird stuff. So when I hear Mick Jagger, I laugh, but also I'm like, yeah, probably. Probably like not on the list, but like probably involved in some weird stuff. I know that upsets some people because you love songs and stuff, but I mean, most of the songs we love have subliminal messages in them that absolutely degrade society. I'm so sorry to tell you. I'm so sorry to tell you. And they have symbolism in them that just inspire us to do bad things. I'm so sorry, guys. I hate to ruin rock and roll and hip hop for everybody, but it's demonic. Sorry, guys. Anyway, Here's this lady again. Again, I don't know who she is. Let's see if it says not a real news source at the end. What does it say? Not an official. Yeah, so it actually is. That is actually, it says not an official news source. So that's what she is on TikTok and Instagram. Yeah, she's been doing some real heavy work. Check this out. Is this the one I think it is? Is this it? No, it's not. What's this one about? Let me see here. Let's play it.
I normally take Sundays off just to chill and catch up on things.
Oh,
but
that's
I
so
needed
quiet.
To read you guys this email that was in the Epstein files. This is an email exchange between former mayor of.
I'm gonna say it because this one's too quiet, but it's former mayor of
Miami.
Former mayor of Miami. Now, his wife is in these email correspondence, and how do I put this? She is upset that he is doing things with ladies, but she wants to know if the ladies that he's doing something with are getting a shower of gold. Do you understand what I'm saying when I say that? A shower of gold. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like the disgusting thing, right? It's not like a fun shower that's gold. No, it's a different type of. You understand what I'm saying? A gold. You understand? A shower of gold. So she wants to know if he has been showering other ladies in his gold. You understand? And she is upset if he has, but if he has not, that means he still respects her because she is the only one that gets showered in gold. You understand? Because she thinks of it as a respect thing. He could do whatever he wants with other ladies, but if he's showering them in gold, well, that's disrespectful because she's the only one who should be showered in gold. I'm not making this up. I'm not making this up. Okay? This is a real thing. They're sickos. They're sickos, guys. What can we do? I just wanted to play that one because I thought it was so funny, but it's just too quiet. It's just too quiet. Now, who is this guy? Who is that guy, you might ask, right? We're going to let that is that lady here again? Yes, she is. Let her explain who this guy is.
Over his mouth and he's going shh. We also stack of money. It says JP Morgan and Chase. We have this creepy man and he's standing in his boxers with no shirt on. He has his finger over his mouth and he's going shh. We also see that there's a mirror facing the bed and the girl that's lying in the bed is dressed as Snow White. If you go to look up the term Snow White in the Epstein library, you will get some results. One of those results is an email exchange between Jess Stolle and Jeffrey Epstein. Jess says to Jeffrey Epstein on July 9th, 2010, "That was fun. Say hi to Snow White." Jeffrey Epstein responded by saying, "What character do you want next?" Now, fun little fact about Jess is that he worked at JP Morgan and Chase between 1990 and 2013. And if you search up his name on Google Images, you'll find an image of him with his finger over his mouth. Maybe I'm crazy for thinking this, but the guy in this painting looks so much like Jess.
I mean, come on. Come on. We'll make it bigger. How is that not the same guy? Are you kidding me? How is that not he's doing it's his signature thing. It's such his signature thing. Let me make it bigger. Let me make it even bigger, okay? It's such his signature thing. Let me cover up that nipple. Let me make him half decent here. It's such his thing that Redacted Jeff made an art piece of him doing it. And obviously it's directed towards the person who is dressed as Snow White. And he said, "What character do you want next?" I mean, what's going on? His hands aren't behind his back? That's weird. That seems like enough to put his hands behind his back. I mean, maybe not keep him there, but you put his hands behind his back just for a little while until you figure things out, right? But apparently not. Apparently not. They are not doing anything with that information at all. At all. Okay? I just really quick have to show you guys this. Just really quick because this guy is the gift that keeps on giving. I mean American Psycho. There he is again. President of Palantir, CEO of Palantir. Listen to this.
Alex, as always, we have a lot of individual investors on the line. Is there anything you'd like to say before we end the call?
We're doing it. We're doing it. And I'm sure you're enjoying this as much as I am. Let's not talk to analysts about the burden of being right.
our burdens of investing in ontology, our burdens of actually looking at the math, the burden of reading what the Rule of 40 is, the burden of being honest about what an enterprise software company is, or the burden of explaining to your friends that you're really happy. Maybe we should just stop talking about it. I'm very happy to have you along for the journey, and you are partners for us. Every Palantirian, we are crushing it. Everyone else who's listening, we are dedicating our company. We have dedicated our company to the service of the West and the United States of America, and we're super proud of the role we play, especially in places we can't talk about. And we love our success in the U.S. and globally. Also, you know, we are doing in the United Kingdom and many other places. Palantir is here to disrupt and make the institutions we partner with the very best in the world, and when it's necessary, to scare our enemies and on occasion kill them.
What's wrong with this guy? What's wrong with this guy? Just evil Rick. Look at him. He's evil Rick. Come on. What's going on with this guy? It was such a good speech, too. You're like, you're probably listening to it like, why is he showing us this? This guy seems like, you know, he's done some great things with his company. That's all. Peter Thiel must be proud of this guy. Scare our enemies and on occasion, we kill them. Hey, are you sure you're not in the files? Pam, can we see the rest of the files? There's just one name I want to check. There's just one name. I feel like there's one name in there. Are you sure? Not at all? That's wild if he's not, you know? That's just wild if he's not. Anyway, you know. Dan Bongino. Oh, that's way too big. That's way too big. Let's make that smaller. I don't like seeing him that big, you know? Although he's back. He's back to claim the movement, you know? I'm just jealous because I'm a doomer. I'm a black pillar doomer. That's what I am. Anyway, let's hear what he has to say.
Why there was a back and forth. I feel like I owe you context on this, having lived through this thing and having dedicated hundreds, upwards of close to 1,000 people between FBI and DOJ into getting the information out there and fighting for that. It was like a big public spectacle. I mean, everybody remembers. But now do the emails make sense? You can see the emails yourself. People are forwarding me emails on what this redaction process looks like. This is why.
You know, the reason I play that is because he's talking about it like as if he wasn't the one who was in charge of the redaction process. He's talking about it. There was thousands of us fighting to get that information out there. No, there weren't. There were thousands of you fighting to redact the information as much as possible. Full pages, just black. That's what he was fighting for. You were forced to release the information by Congress. Listen, I like the Prez. I like the now Prez. I like Prez Orange. I like him. But I mean, his arm was twisted into releasing these things. It wasn't like he was like, let's do it day one. That's not what it was. He was forced to. It was, you know, it's weird the way this whole narrative shifts, especially because like I watch the conservative cosm of things more than anything. And it's just weird how people act like as if he did this just out of the goodness of his heart. Like he was forced to. And it's weird how people like twist it into like Massey being like this terrible guy and Rokana just being this like, you know, wild like libtard. And it's like it happened because of them. They pushed for it more than anybody. And Marjorie Taylor Greene. They pushed for it more than anybody. And they're like losing their positions in government because of it. You know what I mean? It's just very odd. You know what else is odd? This is a valid question now. Nowadays, this is a valid question. This is an okay question to ask now. Did she eat her? Yep, that's where we're at now. That we're at a point now where when I see this question on the screen, I go, well, did she? Let us know. Tell us. Did she eat that person? Before it was like, come on, man. Come on. Where are you going with this? Don't be like that. You know? Leave Ellen alone. Now, it's creepy. It's creepy. Okay? It's creepy. Excuse me. Jeez. Now, I have to just look at that and I have to say, well, let me know if she did or not. I turn to Ian and I say, can you search web to see if Ellen ate anybody? That's what I do now. Right? Right? You don't say, oh, that's out of line, out of pocket. How dare you? How dare you even suggest something like that? No, I don't do that anymore. Now I just go, well, did she or not? Okay? And are the bones at Zorro Ranch? That's all I want to know. Where's her mother? Yeah. Oh, it's at 9K? 9K also rhymes with nunca, 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 nunca. I know black papi. I. Anyway, thought I'd do that for you guys. And shout out to all you guys. Please hit the like button. It helps tremendously. You have no idea. It helps so much. Shout out to the mods in there. Has my wife been just throwing memberships everywhere? Tell me, has she just been tossing them out like Oprah? Like, you get you can if you want, honey. Go ahead. I don't know how many likes it's at. I don't know. Like, set a number of likes or something like that. I don't know. Like, whatever. Throw them out there. It's fine. It's fine. It's either that or I give somebody free merch. So whatever. Throw them out there. Go ahead. Hey, Bannon thought that Redacted Jeff was God. Did you guys know that? This is a real exchange between them. Turkey currency is getting clobbered. Perfect. I mean, just such a George Soros conversation, huh? Talking about Turkey's currency. If Turkey's currency benefits you, if it getting clobbered benefits you, you've reached George Soros territory. You should check yourself. Bannon hammers God shorts. I don't think of myself that way, but, and Bannon says, I do. Oh, man. Well, I don't know what Bannon is. I don't know what he does or what he is, but he should resign. Whatever it is that he does. I have no idea. I have no clue. But he should step down from whatever it is that he does. I don't know what it is, and I don't need to find out. But whatever it is, you should step down. You should step down. He thought of this guy as God. I don't know. Maybe they're making money together. You know, sometimes it gets exciting to make some money. You know, you're making money with this millionaire freak, you know, and you're just making money hand over fist. Maybe, I don't know. Like, they're happy about the currency going down. The only time that happens, the reason I say George Soros is because George Soros likes to make currencies. He likes to just level them, and then he just makes huge amounts of money off of the currency going down. Sometimes he'll short the currency. I think he did that with the pound. He like shorted the pound and then allegedly took steps to actually make it collapse. I mean, this is like big boy psychopath stuff, and then made it collapse and then made a bunch of money because he shorted it. And when you short something, it just means that you're betting on it doing poorly. That's basically what it is. And apparently that's what Redacted Jeff was doing as well. And Steve Bannon thought he was God because of it. Okay. Steve Bannon in the running for email mentions. I believe he's at I think it was 1900 mentions. 1900's back and forth, not mentions. That's different. 1900 back and forth emails with Redacted Jeff. How about that, huh? A lot of back and forths that guy was doing with everybody. You know something? I should talk about this. Rogan. Okay. Rogan doesn't mention. I've watched, for those of you that have been watching the show for a long time, you know, I watch Joe Rogan's podcast sometimes, right? I've listened to him talk about Redacted Jeff, I don't know, 20 different times, right? I've heard him talk about this guy. I've heard him ask questions. I've heard him sit down with Eddie Bravo and they speculate and they go back and forth. And, you know, I've heard him talk about it so much. Not until RFK's wife is on the podcast does Joe Rogan reveal that Redacted Jeff was trying to get him to hook up and like party and meet up. He doesn't reveal it until it's in the files and it comes out. And I just find that weird. I find that so weird. Why did you wait? I've heard him talk about that so much. Never once did he go, oh man, yeah, that guy used to try and get me all the time. Through Lawrence Krauss. You know who Lawrence Krauss is? Lawrence Krauss is He's one of those godless scientist types, the type who's like, AI should take over and I will make all of my body parts robotic as soon as possible, whether they're failing me or not. He's like one of those guys, right? And he was on Joe Rogan's podcast. I didn't like him when he was on Joe Rogan's podcast. And then all of a sudden, the next thing you know, apparently that guy was pressuring Joe to meet up with Redacted Jeff. And then I think Redacted Jeff actually tried to get in touch with Rogan. Rogan doesn't reveal it until it's in the files and it comes out. Why didn't he reveal that? Why didn't he say that? You know what I mean? I don't know. I think it's weird. I think it's weird, man. I'm getting hoodwinked. I'm getting hoodwinked everywhere I look. I mean, it's nothing because people just tried to get in contact with him. He didn't go anywhere. He didn't do anything. But still, you think you'd mention that? You think you'd be like, oh, yeah, that guy's he was trying to get me. You think you'd say that in all the conversations you had about Redacted Jeff? I mean, anyway, people stepping down as they should. Chairman of Hyatt Hotels stepping down as a result of what happened with Redacted Jeff. Good. Who else? Billionaire Tom, what is this? Pritzker? I don't care. Listen, don't bother telling me the name of this guy. I could care less about this guy. I'll just call him Billionaire Tommy. Announced Monday he was retiring as executive chair after his association with Redacted Jeff. Just incredible. Good. Step down. Step down already. The Atlantic writes a piece about Redacted Jeff. And then somebody shows a picture of the owner of the Atlantic hanging out with Maxwell. I mean, come on now. I gotta cover these up. Jeez. Cover yourself up, lady. But that lady in the white, that's the owner of the Atlantic, hanging out with Maxwell. I mean, it's getting ridiculous now. Let's get to Peter Attia. Absolutely wild story. He quietly decides to retain, CBS, Barry Weiss. You know who that is. Erica Kirk interview, Barry Weiss. Barry Weiss, obvious, I would say dual citizen. You know, that's just trying to be as nice as possible. More loyal to Philadelphia than anything. CBS quietly decides to retain Peter Attia as contributor, despite Redacted Jeff fallout. Network staffers say Peter Attia has a wild email back and forth with Redacted Jeff. He actually says to Redacted Jeff, now what does this sound like to you? Okay. He says to him, this is so wild. He goes, he says, the thing about you is, he goes, you lead such an outrageous life, and I can't tell anybody about what we do. I can't tell anybody about it at all. And Redacted Jeff says, yes, you can't tell anybody. Now, what does it sound like they do, right? Now, they had another exchange via email where Peter Attia says, I got a fresh new shipment, and it was some medication that he uses for his own personal use, I guess. You know, that's me being as charitable as possible. That's the official story. But if you're telling this guy that you got this thing, this substance, and it's really strong, and you're showing him you got a fresh shipment, why are you telling him that via email? Why are you telling him that? Now, Jeff, Redacted Jeff, in Redacted Jeff form, says, I got a new shipment too. And he sends him a picture of a lady. Oh, okay. Peter Attia, then they have a back and forth, you know, just some locker room talk. But Peter Attia says he didn't do anything wrong, you know. And then he puts this out here, right? He says, basically, you know, he's just saying my credibility, who I work with, I'm so sorry. You guys don't deserve this. Purpose of the DOJ releasing things is clear. But just to be clear, I wasn't involved in any criminal activity. My interactions had nothing to do with any type of exploits that Redacted Jeff was involved in. I was never on a plane, never on an island, never at any type of wild parties. That being said, I apologize for my position where I was in the email. They're embarrassing, tasteless, indefensible. I want to start by directly addressing the email thread. In 2015, he said he got a fresh shipment. What is that thing that he said? Metformin? I don't know what that is. You guys ever heard of that? Metformin? I've never heard of that before. medication that he had just received from a pharmacy for his own use, his own personal use. So the doctor that's in touch with Redacted Jeff gets some kind of medication and tells Redacted Jeff about it, but it's for his own personal use, and he definitely didn't give it to Jeff. And they definitely weren't exchanging things like that at all. Okay, fine. Okay, if that's what you say. He replied with "Me too." He attached a picture of an adult woman. He said he responded crudely, tasteless banter, blah, blah, blah. Please don't cancel me. He said he was just enthralled by Redacted Jeff. He owned a plane. He had the biggest home in Manhattan. He hosted parties with powerful people and blah, blah, blah. Why does all this matter if he never attended any of these things? If he never got on the plane, why does it matter? If he never attended the parties, why does it matter? Why are you so impressed with those things if you've never gone to any of them? Like he said, he's just, he wasn't aware of any wrongdoing. You know, I just don't believe this guy. I got to be honest. And again, I get hoodwinked because I like that guy when he's on Joe Rogan. I like the Peter Tia episodes of Joe Rogan. I like them all. I've covered them for sure. I get hoodwinked. You got me. You got me, Pete. You got me, okay? Fine. And you didn't do anything wrong, of course. You were just supposed to step down for your position, and then you decided not to. Okay. And again, just talking about the whole thing where you had the kid goes into cardiac arrest. His wife is like, please come home. And he says, I can't. Because he was with Jeff. Allegedly. Maybe, perhaps. That's what's said. It's said that he was with Jeff and he had important things to do. He had important work, so he couldn't come while his kid was in the ICU because the kid went into cardiac arrest at 1 month old. Now, I will cover for him in this instance, okay? It's been 1 month. You know, he's not that attached to the kid. He's not that attached to the kid. He's like, listen, I've only known the guy like 28 days now. I've been working on this stuff for months now. Been working on this stuff longer than the kid's been alive. I got stuff to do, honey. It's just Jeff. Jeff's just in front of him dancing. Get off the phone. Get off the phone. Shh. Get off the phone. Come on. They're here. They're here. Get off the phone. Let's go. Come on. I have important work to do. I must go. But not on an island or anything like that, you know. Anyway, that's Peter Attia. You know, Barry Heiss hired him. He was in the emails 1,800 times, 1,800 back and forths. Oh, and that was the final thing he said, which I find very funny. He said, I go into JE withdrawal when I don't see him. But he hasn't done anything with them. They just hang out. That's how I get too with my friends. When we just talk and hang out and we don't do anything weird at all, I get withdrawals when I don't see them. That's how I explain it. Yeah, okay. And we're just supposed to believe it. Fine, whatever. You don't lose your job. No hands behind your back, whatever. How have not each of these people at least been brought in to the quarters, to the bureau quarters, headquarters, and just spoken to a bit? How has that not happened? I don't get it. I just don't get it. And of course, Anna Paulina Luna, the great, she tells us what the real thing we should be asking about is. Everyone in the country should be asking why the media buried this story only to turn around and weaponize it against Orange Prez. There is a lot more to this story, and it will come out soon. The Cuomies are very dirty. We're not buying this I was about to swear. We're not buying this stuff anymore, okay? You can't just be like, hey guys, it's not elite versus regular people, good versus evil. No. Guys, it's still left versus right. You got to look at the Comies. The Comies are so dirty. It's all going to come out soon. Pam Bondi's like, no, it's not. No, it's not. We're done. We're done having things come out, actually. Actually, we're actually all done. We're all done here now. If we could move on, please. The Dow, stop laughing. The Dow is high right now, okay? So we're not releasing anything. We're not buying this stuff anymore, man. You know, the real thing people should be asking. Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? I don't care. I don't care why it was weaponized against one admin versus another admin. I don't care. Who cares? Have you read what's in the files? Who cares about that part of it anymore? Anyway. Also, I'm not going to play the video, but it turns out Kurt Cobain didn't do it to himself, you know? That's just a video I was watching this morning. Kurt Cobain didn't do it to himself. New reports have shown that he wouldn't be able to hold the thing that he was holding. The fact that there was no blood splatter on his hands. So he clearly didn't do it to himself. Okay. All right. That's where we're at then. That's where we're at. Kurt Cobain didn't do it to himself. Fine. That's what I thought. That's what we were all saying for the longest time. If you're 40 like me, we've been talking about this for a long time. If you think Erica Kirk seems wild, you should look into Courtney Love. I mean, what? Anyway, it was too long. Yeah, it was too long. Exactly. He couldn't have done it. And it's beyond it being how long it was. He was just, even if he was of mind, he couldn't do it. But he was so, they said that like it was, I think it was 60 times what would be necessary for someone to OD. That's what was going on with Kirk. That's what was going on with Kurt Cobain. So there's no way he could have like done all of that stuff. And then there was no splatter on him. And now the people who, you know, aren't incentivized financially, now those people are saying, hey, there's no way that happened. There's no way he did that. It doesn't make any sense. No, it's not a new theory. It's not a new theory at all. It's crazy. It's nuts. It's just coming out now. You know, the old coroners are probably gone and retired, and there's new coroners, and they're looking at things, and they have no incentive, right? They're fresh faces. They're not on any lists yet, you know? They don't got any emails. They're just there, you know? And Courtney's always been sus. She's always been very sus, very odd lady, you know? If you look into it, just look into it. She's very odd. Same with Chris Cornell. Oh, man. Same with Chester. Same with Chester, too. You kidding me? All those guys. Anyway. I should talk about that at some point. But we should get into these super dupers here. We should get into that. But yeah, apparently he didn't do it to himself. Let me hear a little bit of this.
And someone else added on to it. So, not gonna lie here, this looks weird. Their argument is essentially someone under extreme physical duress would not carefully cap needles and put equipment away. They then argue that the top portion reads someone who stopped breathing due to substances rather than someone who died instantly from a homicide. That is massive. So here's what they're arguing. They claim the amount of substances in a system would have left him physically incapacitated. We're talking like 20x the OD limit, so that tracks. And according to their argument, someone in that condition would struggle to coordinate movement, let alone operate a firearm. Wilkins says that Cobain would have been in a near comatose state and barely able to breathe. Secondly, they point to what they describe as oxygen-related organ damage. They argue that certain signs of the autopsy are more consistent with someone who stopped breathing due to substances rather than someone who died instantly from a firearm injury. And then they point to the scene. They describe it eerily clean. They question why his hand, which was found wrapped around the part of the firearm, didn't show any kind of visible blood splatter as they expected. Wilkins said, in quote, "There is no universe where that hand is not covered in blood." They also questioned the organization of the substance kit found nearby, saying it looked way too neatly arranged. Their argument is essentially someone under extreme physical duress would not carefully cap needles and put equipment away. They then argue that the top portion reads like someone expressing frustration about music and fame. Then they claim the final lines appear visually different, larger, more rushed handwriting, and suggest that this could indicate tampering. And I mean, that is interesting because it seems like they're implying he wrote the letter about leaving music behind and someone else added on to it. So, not gonna lie here, this looks weird. Looking at this note, I see what they mean. Suddenly, the writing gets really big and it looks a little different. But the team says they asked for the case to be reopened and authorities have responded. So the Seattle Police Department says the death was ruled self-inflicted and that remains their position. So the King County Medical Examiner's Office said they are open to reviewing new evidence, but they've seen nothing that would warrant reopening the case. So now we have two positions. The findings here are reanalysis of existing stuff that have been reviewed before. Sadly, without a new piece of evidence, they might not just be able to get the case reopened. The other side is the Seattle Police Department has had requests for this case to be reopened since the conclusion of it 30 years ago. The conspiracy side of the story has been around for almost as long as the official ruling, but a team of experts publishing a peer-reviewed analysis is still a lot more solid than 3 decades of conspiracy theories. But
BS. You haven't been watching what's been going on in the past 24 months. You're crazy. These peer-reviewed conspiracies have been on point. They've been extremely on point, sir. You have no idea what you're talking about, okay? But yeah, that's where that is. So they're trying to get it reopened, and it might not happen. Very weird that came out now, and that nobody's gonna care because they're just like, whatever, man. Because there's like 90,000 different things going on, you know? So that's what we have going on. Let's get into these where's my button? Let's get into these soupy doopy chats, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into these real quick. Hold on, there was somebody. I saw something outrageous here. Who is this? Cody Nichols. Oh, okay. You like them? Grew up in the same town. I appreciate the opportunity. First-hand insight into his character. You can find me on Facebook. He has loose morals. Ooh, really? This is Cody Nichols. Sorry, I'm mispronouncing that. I served with Graham in the 223rd National Guard Unit out of West Point, Mississippi, and we grew up in the same hometown. I would appreciate the opportunity to share first-hand insight into his character. You can find me on Facebook. I'm the only one with my name. He has loose morals. Are you? Let's see. And you're under this name? Well, I can't really. I guess I could find you via Facebook. I'd have to switch over to my Coach Colin channel. And then can I even search for people on there? I don't even know if I can, man. Let's see. So Cody, and then how do you spell this? Nick Coles. I just send this guy over to Candace. Let me see here. I don't even know. I don't want to show your face and be like, is this you? I don't want to do that. But it looks like I found you. So I'll keep that on the screen there, and I will keep that in mind, sir. And thank you for your service, of course. Very ballsy. I'd love to know how guys do that. I never asked my dad how he was able to do that. My dad was a paratrooper. I'm like, you know how to jump out of planes? And like, you just did that effortlessly? Like, how do you do that? How do you do that and you're just okay? You know? I guess he wasn't okay afterwards. Yeah, just wild. Thank you for your service, man, and thank you for that insight. Really appreciate that. And I had a good feeling that guy had loose morals, to be quite honest. I mean, I can look at people. The fact that he's doing what he's doing now shows that he's like kind of willing to do whatever. That's just my take. Keith says, and thank you again for that. Bet this chat has the freshest breath. All the mint. Oh man, I think I really have to start a mint company, guys. I think that really has to happen. TK 419 Baronite, welcome Mint Daddy. I'm sick AF Philadelphia coughing drops. Yeah. I should get some. Call them mint detonators. Tanya 21185, welcome Mint Daddy crew. Shout out. What's going on? Brian Whoopie? Is that Brian Whoopie? Go Max, watch out for mint monsters under the bed. Yeah, you gotta watch out for the mint monsters. This is Brian Harpole. Hey, you guys got any mints? Hey, I just want to know if all y'all guys got any mints here. I've just been looking for mints. Okay, I usually have this lady. She's an angel. Name's Chrissy. She gives me mints. Okay, has a husband named Angel. also gives me mints. Has 3 kids named Angel, Angel number 3. They all give me mints as well. Now I have to tell you, I need some mints right now. Y'all got any? Y'all got any of those mints? Like Dave Chappelle, that crackhead Dave Chappelle used to play. Y'all got any more of those mints? Candace is a functional whodunit at this point. A fictional whodunit at this point. You could make something about Candace very easily. Aline says nothing. Just a quiet fly on the wall. Michelle, hey there, coach. You mentioned the other day you wanted to speak to someone who was in the modeling and pageant world. I was part of it from a child. If you want me to shoot you an email, I will. Yeah, do it. Do it on the website. The website will bring you straight to the business email that we have. And then when I answer back, you'll just be in correspondence. Like when you send a message onto the contact of the website, it doesn't just go into nowhere. It actually goes directly to an email, and then we receive it. And then when we answer, we're going back and forth. So yeah, definitely do that. I would love to know about that stuff. Fiat Volume. Oh, it doesn't say volume, but I can't see it. Says, praying for your family, especially for the health of your wife and new baby. Is there a way to send you information other than IG? I don't have one. We have X. We have the website that's in the description. That's iamcoachcolin.com. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. I would say that that would be the best place. Again, it doesn't go into nowhere. We actually do receive it. Angela, welcome, Mint Daddy, Mint Daddyette. Pacey, Charlie was CIA, and the whole relationship was by design. Oh, you're asking that question. It sounded like you were pretty definite, and then you're asking a question. Erica is clearly tied to the agency. Charlie was too, but had to be removed from the mission. Okay, look, you're saying pretty definite things, and then they turn into questions here. If you're asking me, I don't know. I don't know if he was in it to that extent. You know, maybe that's why he liked Tucker so much. You know, Tucker has a lot of association with the agency. Maybe that's why he was such close friends with Tucker, and he would never leave him behind over anything. But I don't think he was. Probably has. I would think at that point in his career, especially like right up until he passed, I would think he would be adjacent to it in terms of having like friends, you know, friends who like probably bring up things and like want to bring up agenda, talking points. Like Joe Rogan has a friend who was a part of the agency. He's like ex-agency. And that guy always seems to bring up a lot of talking points. A lot of people suggest that this Mike Baker guy is Joe's handler because he shows up like every few months and Joe's just like, tell me about this. And he gives the whole spiel of like what everything is all the time. And people don't buy what he's selling at all. They just don't buy it. So yeah, I mean, he could be adjacent to it in that sense. I don't think Erica's a part of it. I don't think that, like a lot of people talk about that video. I don't think that video was an agency video. I think it was a promotional piece. Now, it was clear that she could have been presenting it, but the fact that it was being filmed, like, I don't think, again, I made a bunch of jokes about it. I don't think they let you record conversations in the agency. I don't think you get to go to headquarters and present something and film it at the same time. I don't think they let you do that. That's just me though. Maybe they do. I don't know. They send emails like crazy, apparently, with the files released. They just send whatever they want. So maybe they do film things, but I can't really tell if they're just associated directly with the agency. Could be. I mean, very, very possible. It's more possible that Erica is than Charlie is, in my opinion. I think it's way more possible that Erica is. My husband got no-scoped, not to be morbid or anything. Oh my gosh, Jesus, what a joke that is. My husband got no scope, not to be morbid or anything. I'm sure she meant nothing by it. Yo soy black, yo soy black, papi. No, nunca. Hey, señorita, señor. No, nunca negro. Okay. Philadelphia, PA is present for practice coach. Oh no, she's from Philadelphia. or he. I don't even know who this is. I don't. Let's keep going here. Kerbapple. But the problem is, I know Black Poppy. I love that you have. I love that I can clearly see dreadlocks, and this guy's like, I know Black Poppy. Poppy, I know black. The dreadlocks, the blackest thing you could have. Bakken, Huffines, Whitefield from show 1923. IMG search. I don't know what that means. Are you saying he looks like that person from that show? Ingrid, what a name. I haven't spoken to an Ingrid in forever. Wow, what a classic name you have. I just sent you a blank 20 super chat because I've never done this before. See, here's another one just to say that your humility, humor, and intelligence make you my favorite content creator to watch. Thank you so much. My humility. I guess I have humility. It's one of those things that you could have, but I don't fully know what it means. Like if you ask me the definition of humility, I'd be like, nah, come on. Why are you putting me on the spot like this? But thank you so much. Looking for answers. I would compare the love letter to the letter that Erica held up, where it listed family first, then loneliness last. I would compare those two. Listed loneliness last. I would compare those two. I hope you know which letter I'm talking about. Yeah, I do. When she was sitting with Glenn Greenwald. That's true. To compare it to that letter would make a lot more sense. And I can picture those two. I can picture that. I can picture that pretty clearly. I want to see if I can just find that quickly. Yeah, I know exactly. Erica Kirk and Glenn Greenwald. Or no, not Glenn Greenwald. Glenn Beck. There you go. Let me see if that pops up, that letter. Let me see. Oh, it's too hard to find. I found a 4-minute clip, but you can't find the actual. Nah, you can't find it. Nah, would it be at the beginning? Nah, I'd have to find it another time. But I know exactly what letter you're talking about. You're talking about the letter from that interview. I'll have to actually look at that. But I can picture both of the writings, and they don't match up. The letter that she has and that note that Charlie wrote to himself, where he was just comparing, like, kids first, he's consumerism, loneliness, all that stuff. Definitely different writing. 100%. Good call too. That is the one that should be compared. Should tell Trigger Smart about that. Trigger Smart should hear about that, because that would be a good comparison to do. I watched Lindsay's speech yesterday. Zero enthusiasm in that voice. He sounded like he'd been taken to the back room, roughed up a bit, and given a script. Go get him, Lindsay. Read this or else. Oh, of course. I mean, that's Lindsay's MO. Curious Joel. Shout out Curious Joel. I mean, that's his MO. Let me tell you something. He loves getting roughed up. He loves getting roughed up and given a script, because every time it happens, he's like, oh, for sure I'm going to get money because of this. Oh, they roughed me up so bad back there. Oh God, it's such a long script to read. They have to give me some kind of money for this. Oh my gosh. I mean, my friends at Lockheed Martin are going to take care of me if I can just get the press to bomb Russia. Oh God, if I could just get them to bomb Iran and Russia, they give me so much money. Lindsey Graham, just the worst, Let's keep going. Yee Torino, laughable for Graham Allen to say that the biggest conservative secret is no one likes Candace. Really? You can't think of any bigger secrets right now? It's so true. It's like it was such a dumb thing. And he built it up for his audience. He's like, I have this, guys, he's like, I'm going to be addressing something so big. And he was going on and on about it. And then that was the big thing. People don't like Candace. No, really. They don't like Charlie either. They like midterms more than they like Charlie, obviously. Right? Oh, Jamie's in the house. Play. Yo. Jamie's a firecracker. You guys don't know, Jamie is the firecracker in here, right? Jamie's going to say whatever Jamie wants. There's probably gonna be another one sent by Jamie. Jamie's gonna say some wild stuff, you know, and you guys just gotta deal with it. Cappy, oh man, Cappy. Cappy was way ahead of his time. Way ahead of his time. Jamie back again. See what I said? Jesus loves me. This I know, for the Bible tells me so. I'm not being sarcastic. I love Jesus. Of course you do, Jamie. Jamie, I have no doubt in my mind that you love Jesus. I have nunca, zero. Okay? I don't doubt it whatsoever. Okay? That's Jamie, ladies and gentlemen. Fleet. Oh man, you just reminded me. I haven't been in the meme. I have to dig into the meme crates at the beginning. I just got reminded as soon as I saw Fleet's name. You know what? Let's go. Let's just find something from Fleet. I haven't dug into the memes for you guys at the beginning, and that's what I should always be doing. Should always be looking into that for you guys. I'm sorry, I have not done that recently. Let's find Fleet here. Oh man, you're the second name that comes up underneath Aspen Gold. You know that? Let's see here. What do you got? What do you got going on here, Fleet? You got anything going on? You got Survivor Redacted? Oh, get out of here. Can I even play this on here? I don't even know if I should. Let me see. Let me see something. Let me see a little something here. Let me skim through it first.
Survivor Redacted Island.
Wow. Oh, another great idea. It's such a good idea. Oh my gosh. Let's play this. Oh my gosh. What a great idea. Oh, because the best ideas are the ones that you can make episode after episode about. Like Survivor's on like season 906, right? So to make something like this is called Survivor Redacted Island, ladies and gentlemen. Let's watch this.
On this season of Survivor, tons of rich elites to choose from, fighting for their spot to compete on. Survivor Redacted Island. Who will make the cut? The final 16 will compete on 2 tribes. The Pedo tribe and the Laundering tribe. First round of contenders.
I love this. Bill Gates. Oh man, that is so good. That is so good. Wow. That is a great idea. That is a fantastic idea. Bill Clinton, of course. Of course. Oh my gosh. Alan Dershowitz. Oh my gosh. Such a good idea. Such a great idea. I love that. I love that. My wife just told me I'm muted. All good. All good. Shout out to Baron Coleman. We got a high IQ outfit here. Anyway, like I was saying, Thank you, honey. Thank God she's watching because I can't see the chat right now. Anyway, like I was saying, what you could do, Fleet, you could actually just take this idea. You could make it the elites that are on the island, right? And they have to deflect, deny, defend, right? Or you could take regular people, right? You could take regular people and they get put on the island and they don't know what island they're on. They don't know they're on Redacted Island. And then the elites that are there are trying to catch them, right? And then the whole game is they have to get away from the elites. And then it's like you bring Hillary on there, Bill has to be there, right? Of course, Redacted Jeff has to be around in some way. Bannon, you know, now Prez, you know, you pick a bunch of people, Chris Tucker, you know. I was on a humanitarian trip on Jeffrey's plane. I don't know. I was with Bill Clinton. Okay. All right. You know, you get Chris Tucker, you get a whole bunch of them, you know, and instead of you getting voted off the island, when you lose, you get voted into the temple. So it's like they have to stay together and then somebody gets voted into the temple, right? Gets dark, gets really, really dark. Anyway, that is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Thank you so much, Fleet. Thank you so much for making these things. I just love it. Love that you called Redacted Island. You're at 15,000 subscribers. Look at you. Absolutely amazing. If you guys don't know about Fleet, Fleet has this channel. She's making all sorts of things. Let me hit that like button there. Bang. Yeah, you got something going. You got to keep on going with it. But yeah, that's an idea from me to you. I figured I'd just share that with you there. But yeah, Fleet has all sorts of things. I got to start digging into the meme crate. I forgot to dig into the meme crate, the meme crate for you guys. I will make sure to do that tomorrow, right at the beginning. And again, shout out to Fleet for the 5 memberships. Just throwing them. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Irish Rebel 9208. Did you know that many years ago, Chief Justice John Roberts and Redacted Jeff traveled to Ireland and took, how do you know they did that? Is that in the files? Tell me what file number that is that they did that. I know for sure. I saw it in the files recently when I was looking into it. For sure, Redacted Jeff and that dude who stepped down from like Dubai ports, like his name was like Sultan Ahmed Somali or something like that, or Suliam or something like that. They were in Dubai and they had an email exchange where they were like, no girl is safe. When they were talking about like being in Dubai, they're like, no girl is safe tonight. Crazy. That's the same guy where Redacted Jeff said, where are you? I loved the torture video. I mean, just nuts. Baron Coleman, for U.S. Attorney General. He'd be a good pick too. He'd be a solid pick. He'd be a very solid pick. Baron Attorney General. Because he has the experience. He actually has that experience. Yeah, he would actually be a solid pick. That'd be great. I would love to see that. Your humor is much needed and very refreshing in these tumultuous times. Oh, you thought you'd get me with that word tumultuous, didn't you? You thought you'd get me with that. I've never seen it written before in my life, but I still handled business. God bless you and your family. Love you, Coach. Thank you so much. Shell Bell, thank you so much. Keith back again. Keith, they tried to flood the list to hide the evil ones. Exactly. It's a tactic. That's what that is. He's talking about what Pam Bondi did with the release. They're just flooding it. And also it looks completely fake, right? So even if in that whole list, 80% are actual names who are doing actual dirty, crazy things, the other 20% makes you go, oh, Janis Joplin. That's not a real list. That's it. Like you see one name like that, you're like, that's not a real list. Done. And then people just think it's all Fugazi. Dangerously Diana, or Dana? Dangerously Dana. Literally giving the show True Blood. Just replace Philly with American Vampire League. Satan writes scripts because he can't write scripture. Oh, I like that. Satan writes scripts because he can't write scripture. That's amazing. That's actually amazing. I can send you oh, this is Cody again. I can send you screenshots of mine and Graham's messages to prove what I am saying, or at least that we truly know each other. Interesting. Man, like, forget about Facebook. Message me on Instagram. Message me on Instagram. You can message me on X. You can send an email to the website. Again, it is iamcoachcolin.com. You hit that contact page, write that in, and then we'll be in correspondence. Definitely, I'm down. I'm down. Easiest when it comes to pictures is to hit me up on Instagram if you're going to show me pictures. That's the easiest thing. It's just too easy to be deceived when it comes to an email and there's pictures. We just don't click any links. We don't click any pictures on the email. We don't risk it whatsoever. I've watched a lot of people lose their accounts clicking on things they shouldn't. So if you send it on Instagram, I'm there right away and I will see it myself 100%. I don't have anybody running my stuff. It's all me. We have a little devil in us. That's Jamie right now. We all have a little devil in us. It's the whole yin yang thing. But then we have these monsters. True evil they be. I mean, just a poet. Just a firecracker and a poet, Jamie is. And yeah, you're right. You're right. Of course, we all have a little bit. You have the angel and the devil on your shoulders, right? You're supposed to fight that voice. As they say in Christianity, you die to yourself. You die to those sins. You let that go, and you embrace the angelic, and you repent and you do the right thing. But then you have these monsters who don't do that because they believe in something completely different, something very, very dark. The volume for the vids you play are perfect, but your volume's too low. Nah, I think your volume's low. You know, I had this discussion with a friend of mine one time, and I'm like, hey man, what do you mean the volume's low? And he's like, yeah, it's pretty low. And I was like, well, because I have my phone at like near full blast all the time. Near, probably like 70%, maybe 75%, maybe 80% sometimes. And I go, well, what's your volume at? He goes, oh, my volume's at 30%. And I go, oh, okay. You want to turn it up? He goes, oh, I guess I could. Hey, man. Hey, use your phone. Use your volume. I'll never forget. I talk about that. I think about that conversation every 3 months. Every 3 months, that conversation comes to my head. And I say to myself, you turn it up. Why am I turning it up? You turn it up. You're at home. Turn your phone up. Yeah, anyway, I'm not saying that to you. I'm just saying. My buddy Oliver, he got me heated that day. You know? Dan Bongholio. I'm just gonna leave it right there. Dan Bongholio. Okay. Holy. Anyway, people got all sorts of names for Dan. Candace is correct, over the target and on point. Yeah, with what she's been saying, 100%. Can't wait to see what she has in store. Did you see people said did you see people said the found out Jeff is alive because he still uses his Fortnite? Yes, I have seen this. I have seen that there's some kind of Fortnite account. Apparently he loved Fortnite, which is crazy to me. That doesn't make any sense to me at all. But I love Call of Duty, so I get it. I don't play all the time, but apparently he did. Apparently he was really good at it. And the account is still moving. And it's reminiscent of the fact that his bank account was still moving. He had this bank account that had a lot of money in it, and he passed away, allegedly. And then the bank account started moving money around. And they were just like, who cares? They were like, it's a hoax. It's a hoax. Don't worry about it. It was crazy, right? And now this account's starting up again. That's how powerful he was. He doesn't even care. They're like, sir, you cannot use that account. He's like, this is my account. What are you talking about? I've been using this Fortnite account forever. I'm not putting this Fortnite account away. No, you're crazy. No. I'm already gone to the world. I'm going to play Fortnite. I'm not making a new account. You know how long it took me to get to this level? I'm not doing that. New York, Philadelphian, Yeah, but I saw it. Apparently he's still playing Fortnite. He's playing Fortnite from heaven or from hell, obviously. That's what they want us to believe. He's doing it in the afterlife. Religion is often used as a fog of war for resources. Yeah, so some people use it. Some people use it very, very poorly. I've seen it so many times. Like they just use it really badly. That's what kept me away from religion for the longest time until I met people who weren't like that. You know, it's like the only way. Yeah. It's so rare to meet people like that. But yeah, man, you just see too many people. See too many just sleazeballs. Yeah, Jamie's back again. I hope I become Sellies when one finally goes to prison. What? I hope I become Sellies when one finally goes to prison. Sellies with who? I know you don't mean me. I've never been in trouble a day in my life. I've never been caught. Whatever. Same thing. Lucky Larry 2 Towers and baffling Building 7. Hey, you hear about have you seen what's been circulating? I didn't want to put it out there. Howard Lutnick, I think that's how you say it. Lutwick, whatever his name is. He apparently was supposed to be in the building, but he said that his son, his baby boy, had his first day of kindergarten, so he wanted to be there for his son's first day of kindergarten. But then, oh, Jesus, I'm so sorry, guys. I don't know what's going on in the morning with the gas and it's so weird. Sorry. But he said that he wanted to take his kid to kindergarten for the first time, first day ever. And then people started pointing out that the day that happened, which was on an 11, was not the first day of school for kids who were going to kindergarten, especially in the area that he was in. The first day of school was on the 6th. So he actually lied about it. It's very odd. And then he was doing the whole Erica Kirk thing. He was crying about, 700 families and this is terrible. And it was very weird. And it's very weird that they covered him so much. But he was one of the people who's like, oh, I was supposed to be there and I wasn't there, and survivor's guilt, and very weird. And then that guy ends up in the administration and he ends up in the emails too. I don't know, man. I don't know. I used to really like that guy. I don't trust him anymore at all. The liar. Straight up liar. Anyway, until the video clips you showed, I thought you were saying, I know black. Like they were saying they know black culture. No. Let me tell you something. They do not know black culture, and they do not want any part of black culture. I can tell you that, ma'am. Okay, I'll just let you know. That is not what they're saying. They're saying, I am not black whatsoever. Anyways, let's keep going here. Somebody had to delete Jamie's message. Theo had to delete Jamie's message. What did Jamie say? Jamie's a firecracker. Probably said something wild. Probably said something absolutely wild. That's Jamie. That's Jamie for you. Solution, minimize TSN. Tribal. You said this yesterday. I don't even know what that is. Tribal supremacy, nepotism. I know what it is, kind of, but I've never heard the term before. You're saying it like TSN, like it's a normal thing. And then suggesting pyramid of power. You suggested this yesterday by OG Derek. Okay, you're spelling the name differently today. Okay, I know you are. I have it written down right here. You're spelling the name different. I took notes. I take notes, bro. I know what you're doing. Anyway, I'll look into it. Hopefully someone else does as well. Jessica Parrish. Candace is the Baba Yaga of the podcast world. Who is Baba Yaga? I'll just check. I'm not even going to pull that up on the screen because I don't know what's going to come up. Who is Baba Yaga? Baba Yaga? Who is Baba Yaga? Show me a picture of Baba Yaga. What is Baba? What is this? Have you ever heard of Baba Yaga? Russian folktale. Mythical titan? What? Hold on. Let me just go. Who is Baba Yaga? Who is Baba Yaga? Let me see. Prominent, multifaceted witch in Slavic folklore. Often depicted as fearsome old woman who flies in a giant mortar, wields a pestle, lives deep in the forest within a hut that stands on chicken legs. Why do you even know about this? Known for her contradictory nature, she can be evil. of the podcast world. Yeah, I guess she's like the boogeyman, you're saying? Yeah, that's why they're so scared. That's why Graham is so scared. He's going to lose his career now. Candace is going to throw him into her hut with chicken legs, and we'll never see him again, you know? That's why he's so scared about that whole thing. Make you realize AM. I can't see the whole thing. Oh, make you realize Amanda. Go back and listen to the Turkey Tom video. With all we know now, I suspected Lance Twiggs was the one to flip Tyler Robinson. Yes. I actually was supposed to make an episode about that, and I never did, and I should. And then you guys can't see it. There is a pile of tissues and notes in the corner of this office, and I threw the notes that I took about that episode into that pile, so I have to search through it all to find the notes again. But I have like a 2-hour episode where I can talk about Lance and Tyler, because I think it's pure Mortal Kombat Ultra. I think it's Mortal Kombat Ultra that's happening between Tyler and Lance. And I think there's always somebody who, just like you said, flips the other person. I think that's what he was, because when you really look, like the Turkey Tom episode is a great example. And if you've seen that video, then you know all the writing that he was doing. If you ever look into Manson, he was writing that same type of wild nonsense as well. Like their writing, their scribbles, very, very similar. And, you know, it was known that Manson was actually someone like that too. He was flipping people because he was involved in all sorts of little experiments and stuff. So I definitely feel you on that, 100%. Turkey Tom did a great job with that video. Cody, once again, I'm the only person in the world with my name. I'm the only person in the world with my name. Okay. Well, I hear you. And I believe you. That's true. You know, but you still gotta message me though. You know, you have to. That's the way it works. I don't reach out to people. They got to reach out to me. Hey coach, keeping you, your wife, and your family in my prayers. Hope she feels better. We're all feeling much better now. We're all feeling really good. Don't care a thing about Cobain with what is going on with the children. Well, I mean, he was, I guess he couldn't say he was an exposer, but he was exposing what was going on in a very weird way. Him and his clique, they had a very weird way of exposing what was going on. And believe you me, he was the type of person, he would agree with this statement 100%. He'd be like, yeah, who cares? Let's focus on that. Because he was starting to focus on some stuff. There was a reason why he wanted to get away from music. He was starting to see a lot of things that, you know, people in his position often see. That's Jamie, Firecracker. The unleavened truth. The unleavened truth. There's something you don't know about me, Joe Rogan. I eat mints, Tyrone. I read it in my own voice in my head, and then as soon as you said Tyrone voice, it all replayed again. There's something you don't know about me, Joe Rogan. Oh yeah, Joe Rogan was in that sketch. Wow. How far back does that go? Best sketch show ever. I promise you, if I make a sketch show, it'll be right up there with Chappelle's show. I promise. If I could make a sketch show, if I just had the resources, the people to just make the things that I need made, I promise we'd make something incredible. The Star Studio, Candace is correct and on point solution. Again, you're saying this: minimize tribal supremacy, nepotism by transparent ranking, transparent ranked voting. I don't want to say all these words. I feel like you're trying to activate a sleeper cell with all these words here. I don't like when I see words that I haven't seen put together in a weird way that doesn't quite make sense. What are you trying to do here? You trying to activate me or something? You know, what are you trying to have happen here? I get it, all right? Your book, you want a book looked at? I get it, all right. You have humility in spades. Finest poppy ever. Thank you so much, Slinky. Slinky 2021, thank you so much. I guess I do have humility. I try to. But you know, it could be confused with low confidence. Sometimes I have low confidence. Alieska. Yes, you have humility. Oh, like Ingrid said, it's a wonderful thing in a person, especially a man. God bless you and your family. And you already knew you knew that I was not going to pronounce it properly. Thank you for looking after me. It is Alieska. There we go. Thank you so much. Thank you for the enunciation. I really need that. Oh, geez, a whole bunch just popped up. What happened just now? A whole bunch just popped up. Let's get back to where we were. Jamie, once again, Jamie, the firecracker. Jamie doesn't play around. Thank you, Coach, especially Miss Coach, for letting me speak my brain. You should see what YouTube did not let me say. I could only imagine. You know, when we do those members lives, I'm going to need a mod in there just for Jamie. 100%. Redacted Jeff's eugenics larger than we thought. Review of odd explanations, pneumonia, benefit, begin with the notable celebrities, politicians, large real estate deals, doctor promotions, etc. Yeah, definitely. Try not to say that word, that do it yourself word. Such a dumb way of explaining it. That was such a dumb way. The do it yourself word. Try not to say the do it yourself word. I'm so dumb. Deborah's not a bot. Thank you for not being a bot, Deborah. Remember when Candace was saying she would talk to Charlie about astral projection? If Candace is astral projecting in and watching Turning Point, and that's where she gets her leaks. Wow. I love that theory. That is a solid theory. That is a very solid theory. So that's what she does. She's not really depending on Andrew anymore. She's not depending on employees. She's astral projecting, going into their offices, you know, and just seeing everything that's going on, hearing everything that's going on. Could you imagine? That's incredible. That's an incredible theory. I hope that is what she's doing. They're just firing people left and right for no reason. You know, that'd be incredible to know. Let's keep going here. Star-studded studio. That's what I'm calling you from now on. Star-studded studio. Participate in Ian's web. I am participating. I was like one of the first people to get access. Adonis King, don't download any apps from Ethan. He's playing both sides. Had a bad dream about that guy. I never lie about dreams. They are sacred. You said Ethan. Who's Ethan? Are you talking about Ian? That's the only person I could think you're talking about. Because I don't know an Ethan. I don't think we even talked about an Ethan. I have no idea. But let us know. Missy, good afternoon. I don't even know how to say that. What is that? Listen, I'm 40. I don't know that acronym. GTSY mod. What does that mean? Yeah. I couldn't even fathom what that means. Listen, I'm gonna be 40 in April. Okay, like you got to just write it straight for me. Star-studded once again. Review nation states, TSN. You really say TSN like it's a normal thing. I've never heard that before other than that sports station. And you say it like it's just like it's water, like everybody just knows about TSN. Jack Nicostine. Check out Call for an Uprising. He's an OG truther. That's his full name, Call for an Uprising. Green, thank you so much, Dream and Green. And someone right here, looks like the last person. Coach, last show you acted like no on warned you about George Webb's music videos. I warned you a few weeks ago that he was in Music La La Land. That's funny. Yeah, I didn't see it. I don't remember you warning me, but I've never seen the video. It was just so weird that video existed and he made it. I don't know. I don't get it. You know what else I don't get? I don't get the appeal of that guy at all. I'll say it outright. I don't get it. I don't understand the appeal, period. I don't get why people like that guy. I like this guy better. Look how big that is. I like this guy better than I like Webb, you know? Such a weird guy. He's probably still talking about me, you know? acting like he never said Candace is gonna get put on a tree if she doesn't disavow George Webb, if she doesn't disavow Mitch Snow, just acting like it never happened. What a weird guy. Anyways, guys, let me just move over here again. Fleet, if you're watching, that idea you have is so good. It's so good. Don't let that idea slip away. You gotta focus on the office, the headquarters that you have, and you have to focus on that one. Those are two ones that you can really build out in a really, really special way. Like that's really special what you got going on there. We're so close. Go like. Why? What's going on with the likes? Yeah, like. He scared me with that face. That guy's face is something else. You know what's annoying? This person calls me. They know that I'm live. They know they know. They know. And yet they still call. Always. It's so weird. And I should have it silenced anyways. What am I even doing? I should have it silenced. Anyway. Webb isn't named after George Webb. Yeah, no, of course Webb's not named after George Webb. Of course it's not. No, definitely not. Yeah, guys, that is it. We are at 3 hours. Well, we're almost at 3 hours, but we're pretty much at 3 hours. I just want to see one thing. I had X open the whole day. Something very graphic popped up. I'm not even gonna tell you guys about it on here. I'll repost it, but good God, man. One of the worst things that I've ever seen from the files. And I'm just looking to see if anything else popped up from the files while we were all talking. But nah, Zoro Ranch. Lawmakers launch investigation into Zoro Ranch following investigations that multiple people might be under the ground there. Texas GOP politician. Yeah, it's happening. It's happening. Good, beautiful. I'm so glad that that's happening because that guy, I don't know, he just seems shady to me. Today's the first day that you can elect a MAGA Republican for comptroller. Get out and vote. Huh. This guy, worst time. That message I just read was from Don Huffines. Worst time for you to be running. You buy that ranch. People have figured out the ranch. The files drop. And now you're running for this office. Worst possible timing. Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad. I hope he doesn't get elected, honestly. Honestly, I hope he doesn't get elected. You know, he probably will because he has all sorts of money. But Baron Coleman proves Erica Kirk was likely in Provo before the shot. Oh, really? Let me see that. Let me see that real quick before we head on out here, guys. Let me check that out. Baron Coleman via Project Constitution says. I'd like to hear that. Let's see what Baron has going on. A 39-minute clip. Come on, man. Can't do that. That's too long. You got to sort it out for us. I'll try and find a little bit of it. It's too long.
Of airplane flights that took place on September 10th. Well, really the night before, September 9th and September 10th. This is the night before Charlie Kirk was taken from this mortal coil and the day of. What I want to do is ask who was on each of these flights? Who have we been assuming was on each of these flights? Who have we been told were on each of these flights, if we've been told? And who might have been on the flights? Because we've been operating under this assumption that we think we know who were on the different flights. Now, I'm setting up a series of shows this week. Tonight is just one part of where was everybody and is their extrinsic evidence pointing to where these people might have been. So tonight we look at airplane footage. We'll look at radio signals or radio dispatches that were going off after Charlie Kirk was taken down. We'll look at other evidence as the week goes on. So I'll go ahead and give you the thesis up front. I think we're going to build a pretty solid case that people might have arrived in Provo, Utah earlier than we first believed, earlier than they say they believe that they arrived. When your alibi begins to crumble, or if you get caught lying about your alibi, or if you get caught being near the scene of the crime when you had told people previously you were far away, you've got a real problem on your hands. You've got a real problem on your hands. And so we'll start tonight with the airplanes because there are some planes that we haven't really looked at. And I think they play a pivotal role in what we've seen to date. So let me open this with the very first plane that I think plays a role in this entire investigation. All times have been converted to Utah time. Every time you see here has been converted to Utah time. This is November 560 Tango Whiskey. This is a private charter jet. I think we've been told that this is unrelated to TPUSA, or at least they've seemed to indicate it or avoid that this flight exists. But let me look at this flight carefully, and you tell me if you think this flight is unrelated to TPUSA. TPUSA, as you know, is headquartered in Phoenix, Arizona. Scottsdale, Arizona is home to one Erica and Charlie Kirk. Scottsdale, Arizona at 9 o'clock in the morning to Provo, Utah being the airport closest to Orem, Utah, about 10 minutes away. That seems like a TPUSA event flight, Scottsdale to Provo. Now, the next flight also seems like a TPUSA flight, Provo to Santa Barbara. This is what we would call a repositioning flight. You drop somebody from Scottsdale related to the TPUSA event, you drop them off at Provo, and then you go pick up someone in Santa Barbara. But we're not taking them back to Provo, ladies and gentlemen. No. We're taking them to Scottsdale. We're taking them to Scottsdale. And this is an interesting flight to me because I only know one person related to TPUSA who lives in Santa Barbara, and that's Andrew Colvett. Andrew Colvett lives in Santa Barbara, and I believe he lived in Santa Barbara on September 10th. Was Andrew Colvett on this flight? Can we state definitively Andrew Colvett was on this flight? No. I mean, we can't put our hand on the Bible and state that. But if we look at this flight, we can pretty much state it. Here's my guess of what was happening on these flights. My guess is flight one was Erica Kirk. This is my thesis tonight. This is just my thought. That Erica Kirk takes off in Scottsdale at 9 a.m. She's not with her mother when Mikey McCoy calls. She leaves at 9 a.m. on a flight bound for Provo, Utah, and arrives at 10:06. I have some companion evidence for this in just a minute. The flight that took her then leaves Provo to go pick up Andrew and repositions Andrew from Santa Barbara to Scottsdale. Now, why that repositioning? I'll explain that in just a minute. It's very important that you understand why that repositioning happens. And I'll explain it on another flight in just a moment. But this is totally consistent with everything we saw that day. Totally consistent with everything we saw that day. Now, next. This is another set of flights that happens. And I don't know who's on this flight. So the N40 JD flight. This is a flight from Scottsdale to Provo to Scottsdale. So it goes up and back. Up and back. We don't know who was on this flight. No one has fessed up and said, that's the flight I was on. But if you look at the timing of this flight, this is 1:27 Utah time. 1:27 Utah time, which is 12:27 Scottsdale time. So this is an hour or so after the Big Bang. And then you've got a return shuttle from Provo to Scottsdale coming back. I'm going to hold that flight. I don't want to go too deep into that one because this flight is the one I really want to drill in on. We have been operating under the assumption this entire time, at least your humble host has been operating under the assumption. And I have a timeline that's going to pull all this together at the end. Don't feel lost. We have been operating under the assumption this entire time that this Santa Barbara to Provo flight was Andrew Colvett showing up. I no longer believe that. I believe this flight was Andrew Colvett's wife showing up. And I believe they flew on two separate flights, and I think I have evidence of that. So keep that in mind as we go forward. Because I think Andrew Colvett came in on this flight right here. So this, I believe, this Santa Barbara to Provo, I believe, is Andrew Colvett's wife coming in. And then later in the day, this Provo to Salt Lake City flight would take some of the Charlie Kirk staff from Provo, from the hospital, from the scene of the crime, up to Salt Lake City, where everybody seemed to congregate that night. And we have evidence that took place as well, because Rob McCoy talks about showing up and seeing his son in Salt Lake City, and he's wearing new clothes. And he was surprised by that. So here's your timeline so far. And then we'll break into it in just a second. This Tango Whiskey flight, this first flight right here, Scottsdale to Provo, my new suggestion is that, my opinion, this is not me stating fact, my opinion is that flight right there is Erica Kirk arriving on the scene of the crime more than 2 hours before Charlie Kirk was taken down. The Provo to Santa Barbara flight is a repositioning flight to go pick up Andrew Colvett and take Andrew Colvett on this next flight from Santa Barbara to Scottsdale. Because in a moment, we're going to have somebody on a flight coming in that's supposed to look like Erica Kirk. I'll explain that in a second. Then we have this Scottsdale to Provo, this 127 to 229. That can't be Andrew Colvett, because I believe he's on this flight right here, Santa Barbara to Scottsdale, and it's still in the air. So somebody, I believe, associated with the TPUSA team flew on this flight from Scottsdale to Provo, and then somebody, maybe the flight just went back to Scottsdale. This is, again, supposed to say Scottsdale right here, not Santa Barbara, but somebody went Provo to Scottsdale back, or else the flight just went back because that's where it's based out of. And finally here, this Regency flight, we originally assumed this Santa Barbara directly into Provo, skipping Scottsdale. We all assumed that was Andrew Colvett. But I don't believe that's possible. I believe that's Andrew Colvett's wife, and I'll explain why in a second. And then eventually it leaves Provo and goes up to Salt Lake City, probably taking some of the team up there. Here's why I think it was Andrew Colvett's wife and not Andrew Colvett. The way we laid this out earlier, and Candace and I talked about it when I was on her show. She's talked about it. I've talked about it. I think she broke the news that there's this gap of over an hour. If we accept the timelines as we were previously given them, there's this gap where Erica lands and then is on the tarmac for over an hour before Andrew Colvett shows up, and that's when they leave and go to the hospital. Because Andrew tells Candace when he gets off the plane, he's so emotionally bankrupt at this moment, or emotionally kaput, that he falls into Erica's arms. Well, if he flew in on this Regency flight, he didn't get there until 4:36. This top right flight on the screen, he didn't get there until 4:36 p.m. Which means Erica would have still been at the airport at 4:36 p.m. if that's accurate. You can't fall into someone's arms if they're not there. And this was the flight we all believed that Erica came in on. This right here, Scottsdale to Provo, Utah, 2:31 to 3:12. We've all been operating under the assumption that Erica Kirk landed on this flight, this Scottsdale to Provo flight. And again, if you look, that puts over an hour between Erica landing and Andrew landing. And that leads to the absurd assumption that Erica lands, her husband is dying or dead in the hospital. Everything's going on at the hospital. Everything's going on away from the airport. And for some reason, Erica's sitting around for over an hour at the airport. That's a ludicrous proposition. But it's the only way to square Andrew telling Candace he fell immediately on the tarmac into Erica's arms. I look at that and I say, not possible. Absolutely not possible. That's not a story that makes sense to me. It makes far more sense to me that Erica was there when Andrew arrived, but she wasn't supposed to be there. She wasn't supposed to be there. She was supposed to be on this flight, Scottsdale to Provo. But instead, Andrew was on that flight, because you're not just going to have an empty flight flying up there. You just repositioned the plane from Salt Lake City to Scottsdale. Your pilot knows nobody was on that flight. That Salt Lake City to Scottsdale flight, the reason Delta Zulu plane was in Salt Lake City is because that's where Charlie had a speech that morning. So that plane took Charlie up there. We have that flight as well. Actually, we don't have that flight. We don't know how he got there. Actually, we figured it out. I think Daisy figured it out, how he got there. But this Delta Zulu flight, this 1 p.m. to 2:13 p.m., that was a repositioning flight. That was an empty plane. That was a pilot flying, and we've been told or left with the impression this entire time that that pilot was hustling to get back and get Erica and bring her up. I no longer believe that's the case. It's my opinion. This is only my opinion. This is not me stating fact. It's a rebuttable presumption I'm operating at this point. My rebuttable presumption is that repositioning flight was empty, but they knew they had to make it look like Erica was flying up there after the Big Bang. The only way to do that was to put someone else on the plane, and that would have been Andrew. That would have been Andrew, because originally, remember, we believe Andrew showed up in Scottsdale at 1:44 Utah time, which would have him on the ground ready to get on the plane at 2:31 Utah time.
Oh, they hate this guy. They have to hate this guy. Wow. That's crazy. You know, he doesn't say wild things, so they can't go after him. That's why they get to go after Candace and not Baron, because Baron doesn't say absolutely wild, crazy things. He just comes with, you know, these types of breakdowns. That was crazy. Very interesting. I wonder. Like, I don't know for sure. I don't know if what he's saying is right, but sounds right. Sounds right. And they're definitely lying about stuff. Bunch of stuff all the time. They're constantly making things up all the time. So that might actually check out. I do have to watch his episodes. I'm too busy working on the show for the next day, so I don't exactly get to sit there. I should have somebody actually just go through Baron's podcast for me and actually check it out. But yeah, that's very interesting stuff. Very interesting, because if she was already there, which I wouldn't doubt, man. I wouldn't doubt. Because, again, going back to what I said before about the dispatcher audio, you know, it's funny because at the beginning of this thing, it was all truthful. And right at the beginning when this happened, people were like, Erica's there. Erica's there. Like, that's what was being said. When Charlie first got hit, within the first, 10, 20 minutes, they were like, she's there. And then hours later, that wore off. And they're like, no, she's not there. And she had to fly in. But I always think, when things first happen, that's when people are being the most truthful, because they don't know that they're supposed to lie about anything. They have no clue. But I don't know. We'll let Baron sort that out. I got to go listen to the rest of that. I'm the Amanda that you've been talking to. Yeah, no, I know. This Amanda actually figured out that I needed somebody to help me with my organization before anybody did. I have Lance. Lance is a huge part of that now, and he's absolutely incredible. But she was the first one. She was like, you need a producer. She's like, and I can produce. I know what to do. And I was like, okay, all right. But we never got around to it because I was just too nervous. I was like, I don't know this person. I'm like, this could be I don't know. I'm like, there's people, it could be anybody. So I was a little nervous, but you were right. And I may need you for some back end organizational things, but I'll have to see. I'll have to talk to Lance about it. Right. Lance has become my Jamie. If I'm Joe Rogan, then Lance is Jamie. So I have to talk it over with him and see what he thinks. But we might need somebody else in the organization, the small team. So I will definitely let you know. But of course I remember you, Mandy. Of course. I think you have me on Discord. I know we talked on Instagram already. But yeah, of course I remember you. You were doing producing for that other show, that guy wanted me to be on. I forget what his name is. Some black creator. He wanted me on there. But I know Black Poppy. So I said no. Absolutely not. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Hey, Coach, if you haven't found Zach Costello's show, the one who posted his casket comment, you should. His content is top-notch, and I believe, like me, he's a huge supporter and fan of you. Oh, okay, cool. I will definitely look into that. Yeah, I saw he was following me. I think I followed back. I'm pretty sure I did. I haven't seen his show, though. I'll check it out, see if it's on YouTube or anything. I'll definitely check it out. He got a repost from Candace, so he's doing all right. Casket video is now showing his graphic content on X. Oh my God. All right, fine, whatever. Of course it is, right? As soon as people figured out the hands, all of a sudden they're like, oh, hold on, this shouldn't be shown. But if you search Charlie Kirk, the first thing that pops up is him getting shot. Like, okay, makes sense of that. Bro, you have to show BC. You have to watch BC's show from last night when you have time. It was fire. Yeah, I do. I do, apparently. That little chunk that I saw just now, like, wow. Yeah, I got to check that out. Naturally, what is that? Naturally Nolans. Nolans from Nolans. Today was my first catch whole live. I really appreciate you, your wife, your mods, members, and supporters. Yeah, the community is absolutely incredible. I have nothing to do with it. Just a bunch of great people all coming together the way they do, and very thankful for it. Respect to Dave Webb, Whitney Webb, Derek. Oh, pick which one. Pick which one it is. You can't have both now. Okay, Bronze, Ryan Dawson, Nick Bryant, etc. We're all early OG investigative journalists of Redacted Jeff. Oh, Coach, what happened? She's throwing them? She's throwing them? All right, she's throwing them. It's fine. It's fine. All right. I messaged you on Instagram with proof I know him. Okay, man. Okay. And listen, I believe you. Like, I don't doubt you. I'm just doing this right now, so I can't like jump on and like check things out. But yeah, I believe you, and when we'll talk, let's definitely talk about that. Gary Webb, best known for his Dark Alliance series, examining the origins of rocks trade in LA. He passed away. Jesus, come on, I can't have those words on the screen, but I hear you. Thank you. Jeez, lady's talking about rocks and do-it-yourself stuff. Come on, man. Man, I really appreciate you guys being here today, though. Thank you for all the likes. Please hit that like button. Thank you so much. You guys appreciate it. I appreciate it so much. No, the volume's not low. You turn up your volume. You turn it up. Anyway, I do appreciate you guys so much. Thank you guys for being here. I do have to get out of here. Got to get ready. What's my game tag? Oh, I only play Call of Duty Mobile, and I don't know what my name is. The name used to be Shoot 'em Up Dead. That used to be the name. I changed it to something else. I haven't looked at it in a while. Somebody actually just put something up here. What did you say? Zach Costello is a podcaster. He's a podcaster who I gotta actually pull you up here. Let me see. It's like getting away from me. The whole chat's moving him. He's a podcaster. Oh my gosh. All right, let me just flip over here. Let me see here. Get this Gary Webb thing out of here and going crazy. Zach Costello is a podcaster who does mostly Charlie content. He does good work, but is too serious for me. Show lacks a sense of humor like yours and Barron's. Your pod is entertaining and informative. Thank you so much. Yeah, people get very serious about this type of stuff. I definitely understand that. But I'll let him know. I'll let him know you said so if I end up talking to him. But I do have to get out of here, guys. I am going to be bombing everybody right now. You guys are already doing it in there, huh? Oh, well, believe you me. Nobody outdoes me. Okay. Let me just get this. Then copy. I'm gonna copy. Copy, paste. Let's go. Bang. Boom. Bye. Really appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much for coming out. Thank you for being here. Thank you for talking with me. Thank you for being such good people in the community, talking with each other, making friends as time goes on. I really, really appreciate it. And we will, I think I'm discussing doing some kind of giveaway soon because I am going to make the Philadelphia Mints merch very, very soon. So I hope you guys enjoy that when it actually comes. But thank you guys so much. So many people in the chat. Really appreciate it. We got to get out of here. I will be back tomorrow. What is tomorrow? Wednesday? I'll be back same time. And thank you guys for being here. We're going to talk more about the files. I think I'll let you know anything that comes up with Candace. She's going to war on X right now. And whatever else pops up, we'll be talking about it.